Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreon, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of appreciation to Abraham Mohammed, Adam, Adrian Quintana, Alistair Main, Blue Ridge Ranger, Burn Fat Till My Stomach Is As Flat As The Earth, Chow Young Cat, Dank, Dave Rakia Gafford, David Robinson, new Patreon. Thank you very much for joining me on Patreon, David Robinson. Nice to have you. David Wayne Foster, Daz Studio 68, Edwin Johnson, Erwin Jennisons, Felix Hung, Fireball X, God Rockin, Henrik 86, Kirsten Smith, Liam Nedrick, Life is Short, Matt, Missouri Bear, Nagara, Nathan Thompson, Naibai, Qatar Craig, Renee, Rob H, Sally Ballis, Silver Umbrella, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, The Real Gabster, Tina Baker, Tom Herkins, Unbelievable Productions, and Windrider. So a massive shout out of appreciation to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now we are joined by a few people in both Discord and G Plus panels, so I'll raise the mic on them and you can enjoy the dulcet tones of whoever the hell is in there while I set up before the first live show.
Right. Explain that then. The only thing that, and I'm not telling them what is the process or I'm not saying anything about what I'm doing or why. I'm just going to call it Substance X, because I don't want them to have any preconceptions that'll taint their biases for or against it. So from their perspective, I'm just not going to tell them anything. And I've invited them, my dog, to see X-ray and biopsy and all that. And I've also said I'll deposit 50,000 Great British pounds into a trust account to show sincerity that I'm not bullshitting, because I can do this and it can be repeated. I just want somebody that's prepared to challenge me and show me the results, because I'm doing it based on the perception. I didn't get the evidence to accept. I just accepted the diagnosis without evidence of proof. Well, obviously we need that proof, but I'm happy to prove it. So I've said, like, I'll put 50 grand into a trust account to show that I'm being serious. Whether they do or not, I don't know. But to be honest, they should say you don't need to put your money in. But I am serious. I will do it if I have to, because I think it's important.
We're recording now, by the way.
Cool. Funny how the mentality immediately changes once you know that you're being recorded.
Yeah, I noticed that that little pause.
Yeah. It's like, ooh, okay, let's think about what we're going to say now. Oh, by the way, with regards to the oil platforms and this beautifully artistic looking one at nighttime with all the oranges and stuff.
Yeah.
The ballers are still pushing that, but refraction does explain this. And I'm like, well, demonstrate that you can make the horizon appear 10 times further. And what they're saying, and to be honest, if I were on their side, I would argue this too. I would say, if the Earth's that big that it appears to be flat, right, as a function of refraction, then how can they prove that light bends the way it does in the atmosphere? Light follows a curved trajectory. How could you do it? Because you need a great distance to be able to show it. But then you need to prove that there's a curve to the light. And I'm like, how would you prove that? I mean, think about it from their perspective. How would they prove that light follows a curved path in the atmosphere rather than in a fish tank with sugar solution or whatever? Because obviously we say, well, that's non sequitur. You can't conflate the two positions. We're not in water and we don't have sugar floating around or whatever. So how could they do it? And I'm like, I don't know, but that's not my problem. That's yours. But how could they do it? What test could they do? And what would be considered to be true? Would it be the sights on a gun?
Who cares? I've gone over this loads of times. Who cares?
It's their test.
No. Their model's geometric. Everything about it's based on physical geometry. It's got a geometric physical horizon. Now, you're arguing how you can make that, which is geometric and necessitated by their model, non-geometric, defying their model. Let them do it. Let them. I keep telling you, let them. They're shooting themselves in the face.
Yeah. This is the bit where, even on our side, I quite like begging the question with them, as you know. But if you lose track of the bigger picture, you can get caught up in the argument. You have to maintain that presence at the start. Yeah, the minute it becomes non-geometric, it's non-geometric, guys. You can't prove that geometric edge. You need that edge.
Exactly. The geometry is required. It's a geometric model. The horizon in their model is geometric. Any values that they claim are attributable to their version of refraction, terrestrial or standard, depending on what you want to call the same thing, 7/6 of the radius value. The radius value giving you a physical geometric edge for a horizon. So it requires, their model that is, the sphere Earth requires a geometric horizon. They're saying, we can show just how non-geometric it is. Watch my demonstration of a violation of the geometry that would be necessitated for my model I'm arguing for. Yeah, let them shoot themselves in the face. Just let them.
It should be really obvious if it was a geometric horizon. Like, the Soundly pictures? And you remember that doubling down thing you talked about, Sleeping Warrior, before on the show?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you include both the geometric horizon and perspective, making things diminish a lot faster, something like the Soundly bridge should be like what it should look like, right? Like, when I first seen it...
It should look like that all the time, and then refraction will be added on top.
Well, it's just that when I first seen those pictures, like a long time ago, when I started getting into flat Earth, I thought they were like fake somehow. I thought that can't be possible, right? And a lot of people do think that. A lot of people do think that, like, when they look at it, they're like, that's not possible. Like, it's like too obvious or something like that.
Yeah, it looks like we live on the summit the size of a basketball.
Either way, I think the point that Righteous is making is very valid, which is to say that their presentation of the world with a distorted, refracted image with stuff doubling down on itself and inverted mirages of itself as it fades into the hazy obstruction they think is a physical geometric edge called the horizon. That is what they claim is the actuality of world. This is the way the world really looks. And when it looks like what we've got on screen now, well, that's a completely refracted, distorted image. Why? Well, because there's refraction in there. Right, okay, well, what kind of refraction? Well, every refraction that they'll detail will have nothing to do with non-geometric horizons. They'll all be describing the effects with respect to the horizon. And if they juxtapose that with their actual refractive value, which is terrestrial or standard refraction, 7/6 of the radius, giving them a geometric horizon, then they're going to be bending it with respect to the horizon based on the geometry that they don't have. So they're screwed 6 ways from Sunday. There's no way out of this, but the point is that when Soundly's images are presented, they're telling us that's the actual way things look, even though that's heavily distorted and looks very screwy and doesn't look normal or real, with stuff bending over what they claim is the physical sphere edge. That's supposed to be reality, and what things actually look like, because it's all actually supposed to be on a sphere, right? And then the non-reality, what we've got on screen, is all distorted. Ooh. That's what they're telling you. It's arse about face. The clearer the day, the further you see, and that's the images we produce, the more distorted you've got in terms of your atmospheric conditions distorting things at the horizon, causing mirages. They present that as though it's reality. It's completely backwards.
Very good point.
Hey.
Hey, 10th one.
Nathan, you did a wonderful job yesterday with back and forth with Paul on this subject. You said, does light refract? Yes. Is that the same as terrestrial refraction? No. Does terrestrial refraction involve geometry? Yes. Terrestrial refraction geometry based? Yes. Is refraction geometry? No. You killed it yesterday, my friend.
Yeah, credit to Quantum Eraser. I nicked the formatting completely from him. I don't think he said those exact words before, but that formatting I've nicked from him, just so you know.
Yeah, what you're doing is contrasting geometric curvature or geometric refraction from actual real world refraction.
Yeah. When the minute they have to say refraction, it's bye-bye sphere.
Yeah, I agree.
It's over.
10th.
Yeah.
Forgive me for noticing. I'm going to say something. And I'm probably wrong, and that's fine if I am. But are you okay? You don't seem your usual happy self.
No, I've been sick for a week. I have no fever, but like a tickle in my throat, and I ran out of energy for about 4 days. So other than that, I'm fine.
I watched an interesting piece 10th from Owen Benjamin. So a few people mirror his little snippets here and there.
Mm-hmm.
And one of his little snippets, the subject at hand, although this isn't relevant, was about which day would be considered the Sabbath, Saturday or Sunday, right? That's what he's talking about. But he's saying, well, I'm homesteading. I've got chickens, I've got goats, I've got all these animals. So there's no such thing as a day off. There isn't a day of rest. If I rest, my goats that need milking will stop giving up milk. I've got to do it. So there isn't this idea of this day off that he's supposed to be taking, this day of rest. To him was just nonsensical. So I thought I'd tell that to you as a Christian and as a farmer, just to get your opinion.
Yeah, I'll give you my opinion. That was something he did with the Jewish people, not with Gentiles, obviously, because it's not for Gentiles. Now, if I want to observe it, then I will set an extra meal in advance and do what the Jews did, which was cook that second meal the day before the Sabbath started so that I wouldn't be doing any work on the Sabbath. But again, that's here nor there, because Christ came and fulfilled the law and everything in it. So if someone conscientiously wants to do it as a matter of historical importance, they can go ahead, but it doesn't make any effect on one's salvation or not, because salvation is based on what Christ did in his resurrection, not anything a man could do.
Fair enough. Good answer.
That, and even what was it in the New Testament when the Jews, or what do you call them, were criticizing Jesus and his disciples about doing something on the Sabbath day? He was like, you guys let the animals to drink and all that stuff on the Sabbath, and how much more important it is to heal somebody on the Sabbath.
Yeah.
So even back then, they had to tend to the animals, I guess.
Who wouldn't jump into a pit to save a dying sheep on the Sabbath? I think was one of them. What they did was they took it to legalism to a point where it obscured what God was trying to say, which is, hey, set this day aside. Don't be bothered by the everyday stuff. Think about me, the creator, and what I've done for you. And what the religious leaders did was they took it to legalism, to where you couldn't walk you can only walk this far and no more. And all these different legalistic constraints they put on it, to where it choked the life out of just enjoying the day and giving God the glory for your life. I mean, and Jesus said, I'm the Lord of the Sabbath. I can do whatever I want. Anyway, Anthony, you there?
Sleeping well.
Yes, sir.
You keep referencing that new picture as nighttime, but it's sunrise.
I know, but it looks like sunset, doesn't it? I see the oranges and think sunset. For some reason, I can't get it.
Sunrise does the same thing, is what I'm saying. So it's just so you're clear as to when he took it. It was sunrise. That's all. I
know. Tomatoes.
Okay.
I understand I'm wrong on that, but when I look at it, I just think sunset. I know it's not. I just can't help not see sunset in it. I'll try and change my phraseology. On a different note, I'm trying to get Rumpus to join. I want to ask him if Soundly's pylons or bridges are going over the curvature of the Earth. Which going over is it going over? Is it going over the geometric, or is it going over the apparent? Because he has to say the geometric, right? But he's not going to do. He's going to say the apparent horizon. And then we're going to say, well, it's not geometric then, is it? So I'm going to try and get him to focus on
Why?
which,
You don't need him
horizon
anymore.
sound he's going over and whatever he says.
You don't need him anymore. So you've just summarised it beautifully. And he's already done that here. So while I appreciate you want to do the same thing again with him, number one, I've already done that. I'm not saying, oh, look, I've already done it, haha. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying we've already achieved that with that individual. So I've had him, but I do. Yeah? Well, we've had it. But I'm glad that you've, verbalised that which you've just verbalised, because you're saying I need to ask him about whether or not this sound image would have the pylons going over a geometric horizon or an apparent, in their terminology, redundantly used by morons at the moment, an apparent meaning non-physical, not actual, not geometric horizon. And you're saying, well, he's got to answer the bloody obvious. It's going over a non-geometric, non-physical horizon, despite the fact that his model must have a geometric horizon. So we know the conclusion. Hearing him double speak the hell out of the show for 25 minutes just to have the same result as we've already achieved isn't necessary, in my opinion. Plus, again, you may disagree with my opinion on this. Several of the participants of the Hangouts recently have barefaced lied on the show. To all of us, to the audience, to everybody. Rumpus is one of them.
That's what I wanted to demonstrate.
Well, I know he's a barefaced liar. I've demonstrated it already, and with this very topic. But to me, that makes me that little bit more reluctant to invite him in. Now he's been, clearly he's a liar. We've always known that. But having him actually demonstrated within a few breaths of him saying things that he's an outright liar, to me says, what's the point of having him on? There are other people that might join the discussion, like the guy the other day, who are just ignorant of what science is, but ultimately can still have the discussion without barefaced lying to us. They might be cognitively challenged, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're outright lying, like Rumpus absolutely is. Same goes for Brenda and a few others.
I do have an answer. Remember yesterday I gave the analogy of the orca whale that decides whether or not to kill his food and then eat it, or kill his food and then simply swim away, or just ignore the food altogether. You're saying just ignore the food. I'm thinking I want to be the orca whale that kills the pup and then just walks off.
Sure. But I'm just saying I'm not going to go out of his way or give him any special treatment to get that out of him when it's already been achieved. However, if he joins the show, all are still welcome. If he joins, he joins, right? And if you encourage him to join the Discord server and he does, then more power to him.
Hey, Nathan, I put a picture in Master Bead that Bev, I think, or may have been somebody else on Emma UK's channel posted. It's worth looking at.
Is it a picture of a bridge with some cars on it?
Yeah, I believe that's Sam Lee's bridge. Notice the headlights and what direction the headlights are going. They brought that up. That's an interesting picture of how looks like they're all going off the bridge.
I don't understand.
They're not going with the road, the cars. They're going towards the railings of the bridge. That's how it appears to be.
Exactly. So they were saying it could be a magnification effect on the camera.
Oh,
the picture
I see
was
what you mean. You'd expect to see the doors, and we're not. We're seeing both headlights.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Very. Now you've said it, it's like, at first I was like, okay, cars on the bridge, what's the big deal? But now I look at it and I go, shouldn't I be seeing, based on this, just for the audience, I'll just show my mouse, we're seeing this, let's call it a guardrail, it doesn't matter if it isn't, this nice reference line. And you'd expect to see car door, and then maybe the side of this headlight here, and possibly not the other one, depending on what was obstructing it. But what we see is square on the windscreen and both the headlights. You're like, where's the doors? Shouldn't they be here? What's going on?
Yeah, when I first saw it, I said, wow, that's weird.
Very strange.
Actually, thinking about it, I've got a presentation that I want to make right at the start, after housekeeping.
Okay.
Those right on Podstrain Bridge, right? They've got those vertical mile marker things that are not mile markers, but they denote a distance. Does anybody remember what distance they were between the markers?
Mile.
No, they weren't miles.
You said they were mile markers.
I said they were mile. 0.8, 0.9. Right, so they're a tenth of a mile. Right, okay. Fucking hell. Look at this. Right, share my screen, Nathan, if you would. Let Let me run this by you before I do this, because if I get this wrong, I want you to tell me before I do it. Right, screen share.
We're recording.
I know. But it's pre-show. It doesn't count if it's pre-show.
Of course it counts.
It doesn't.
Publish and be damned. If you say it now, she's saying it, dedicating it to air, it's going to get broadcast.
That's okay. Right. It doesn't count if it's in the pre-show.
It doesn't count.
I didn't know if pre-show didn't count.
Yeah, they don't count.
Wow.
I love your attitude. Okay, right, you're on screen anyway.
This is one of Soundly's, when he was criticised to go back and get it lower or whatever. I mean, look how low he is. There's his trainers, the water's there. He's no more than 6 feet above the water, right? We know 6 feet above the water, the horizon is 1.2 miles. So what we're looking at, wasn't it 2.4 miles or something like that?
No,
it wasn't quite.
It's 1 foot is 1.22. So it's the square root of the observer's height in feet. 1.22
yeah, I think it was
times
about
square root.
miles. Right. Well, what we can see here is we can get the distance. We can get the depth perception with the 10th mile markers. So when he puts he's going to do it now. He's mounting it onto his tripod or whatever, and now he's going to zoom in, and we can see with the distance how far we're actually seeing to the horizon. So we've got there's 65 miles an hour or kilometers, whichever. Come on. As he zooms in, they get more and more square to us, so we can see them. I'm just looking to see what numbers they are. So there's 0, 1. Hang on, let's see if we can see any numbers. Because if the horizon isn't where they say it is at that depth, then we have a problem, don't we?
I see what you're doing now.
It's not.
What you're trying to assess is whether or not this is a black swan. Yeah, this will take some investigation. You're not going to figure this out on the pre-show.
I know. I'm planting the seed.
Okay. No. I see. Yeah, absolutely. Every single observation ever, you could essentially apply the same criteria. The distance to the geometric horizon, based on their model, has to be no more than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, giving you the physical limitation of this observation. If you can take the mile markers and extrapolate out exactly how far that horizon is, then you can say the horizon is at this distance. If it's further than 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, for a 6 foot man it's about 3 miles. If you can prove that that's further than 3 miles, then it's a black swan.
So that looks to me like it says mile 0 and then 0.9. It looks like it's saying 0.9 miles. Is that what that says? 0?
Yeah, that looks like 0.9 miles. That's what it looks like in the U.S. where there's a lot of those markers all over the place.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of investigation for you to figure this out. You could.
It is. I'm just planting the seed so that we can test it. I mean, on this particular day, it's quite a misty. You know, remember when Ranty would say it's always a very misty, murky day? You can see that it's clearly misty, murky because it's disappearing off into the distance and it fades to nothing. But I want to see how far that bridge is. I'm going to have to go back and have a look at it. But that's what we want to see. Where is the point where the land appears to meet the sea? And that if we can work out the mileometer on it, then we can say, well, that's much further. That's the plan anyway.
I would expect this to be either a bog standard white swan or a variant that's permittable within their geometry. So within the geometry, it's not unreasonable to have the atmosphere block your view of the geometric horizon, thus moving the horizon closer. In other words, that doesn't in any way address the black swan argument, but it's perfectly permittable for you to say, well, yeah, the horizon's closer today. You could have the horizon meters away if it was foggy. You know, that doesn't debunk geometry, is what I'm saying. But I would expect it to either be atmospheric conditions that are closer. Now, that might be also interesting, because if he's got things going over a geometric horizon prior to its physical geometry would permit, that also raises other questions. If it's being asserted that that's the physical nature of what you're observing in Townley's images, and yet we've got an effect of refraction doing it prior to the physicality, well, that would also be a problem. Personally, my money would be on it just being a bog standard commoner garden white swan.
I was going to say something I noticed on that. Go back to that, Anthony. Can you back up just a little bit?
Yeah, I just want to see what's in his immediate vicinity for these. So he's got tower blocks.
Well, it just
trying to work
like,
out which side is he on?
All I was saying is it looks like that bridge. There was a sharp. It's like it was sharp bend. I don't know if you noticed it. Instead of a smooth curve transition, there was a at one point where it almost like it bent. So go back, right there.
Yeah, I remember the bridge has got a kink in it.
Oh, it does. Okay, so there's.
Perfect. Well, that's the distance. Oh, this might be easier than I thought. I thought it was just completely straight.
Check. Can you hear
Babs.
me?
Yeah, we hear you. Are you saying there's an actual marker, this kink in the bridge that you can see in this observation?
There is a kink in the bridge, yeah.
This might be quicker than we thought.
It's only on one side.
I don't see a kink.
There is. There's definitely a kink in it. But I can't remember which side it's on. I can't remember who spotted it. I think it was Ranty that spotted it. Because there was a picture where it was taken, like it was kind of taken on from. Just pull this out here so I can get my bearings. There we go. It was kind of taken from a high altitude balloon, and it was kind of like that, and you could see that it was clearly kinked. I think.
Is there anyone on the panel that can help me share a couple of images?
Sure, I don't see why. I don't know. Sleeping Warrior or Righteous, maybe Paul, whoever's willing.
I'm just gonna about leave. I was thinking Paul maybe, or maybe even Sleeping Warrior can get a Discord.
Hey,
I'll
real quick.
just a sec because I'm on a mission at the minute.
Oh, hey, Anthony, that's okay. Here, if those mile markers are roughly the same distance, if it's 1/10 of a mile, just count them. So you can count. So if it's one, like that one you saw is 0.9, then all you gotta do is count them. You know what I'm talking about?
But you need a wide angle to all of it, and you need to just count them. I think that's going to be a much better solution than looking for the kink.
Do you want me to go back to the video?
Yeah, it's something in the video. Rather than you saying, right, the kink, let's draw out a line in Google Earth, the kink looks like it's here in Google Earth, blah, blah, blah. Just count the 1/10 of a mile markers. Like, literally, get a wide angle from his observation with the most of it in. That's pretty much as good as you're going to get. You count to a certain point, then you zoom in, let him do the work for you, in other words, and then count the rest that he's got. So in other words, you've just got to work your way in as he zooms in to count them all, basically.
It says 0 point, so it's in the first mile. 1 point something. It looks like that's the kink there.
I know, but you don't have to, Anthony. Oh, go back to that. Go back. But look, there's more mile markers as you go down, so you could just count them. Like you got, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah, but look, the kink is here, isn't it? It's on this joint here. And then you've got the hump, the first hump in the background, then the bigger hump. So basically,
hold on. Paul was just counting them. Look, you give up on this kink solution. I've just said let Paul count them.
Okay, got 1, 2. Okay, there you go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I can get to probably about 14. The rest are blurred.
That's 2.4 miles. Well, distance to horizon should be 3, so I was spot on. It's just going to be a commoner garden white swan, Anthony, as expected.
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
Don't forget the horizon is where the land appears to meet the sky. Well, wouldn't it be the point where the bridge goes over, like down here somewhere?
Egg. Oh.
I think it. Okay.
I'll take an egg, Paul.
Worth a punt. I'm not saying don't do it.
Oh, sorry.
It's worth more investigation, Anthony. I'm just saying we're not going to figure it out here and now based on what we've had a look at so far.
That's right. Okay. It takes time.
Yeah,
I'm okay with time. And it's pre-show. Like I said, it doesn't count.
It's just magnification. It's just magnification from perspective.
Well, and if you look at my screen real quick, I've actually created their medium differential, and I created a bend in that light. So, just saying, my light simulator.
You have to give us more.
Yeah, that isn't easier, isn't he?
Why did you do it?
These here are these. There's the building.
Come on, Anthony. you mutter away to yourself through our conversation.
Sorry.
Tell us a bit more, Paul.
I don't know if you see my screen. I was playing with a light simulator, and I figured out how I didn't realize this, but you can actually control the refractive index even on this light simulator. But if you look, we got a point source. It's just a point source light, which actually 10th Man actually debunked the other day, but I'm just using this as an example. But I've caused this light to bend, but it has to transition through three different mediums to bend. You see that? So you got the medium that it's in, the light source is in, and you got the medium of the circle, and then you got another medium change. And that's the only way to get the light to bend. But I was able to get it to bend. So.
Well, you've got 2 points of refraction. The claim of 7/6R is it constantly transitioning. They describe it in analogy as having endless layers of glass. Because obviously light does not bend. It deviates from straight. That is what the essence of refraction is. And you have two positions where it deviates from straight, takes a new path in a straight line, and then deviates again and then continues in a straight line. But that needs to happen continually around the edge of a sphere. It will never happen, but they insert it after talking about the real effects of refraction with photographs and actual atmospheric effects, and then they just substitute 7/6R, which is a presupposition based on a physical geometry with a physical horizon, that you can bend light in the atmosphere like it's going through infinite layers of glass and constantly changing its trajectory, deviating from straight to create a curved path. I mean, it's the most preposterous load of old nonsense you've ever heard, terrestrial refraction. But we've now debunked that also. As soon as you debunk the R value in the physical geometry giving you a physical sphere edge for a horizon, you can no longer base 7/6R terrestrial refraction on that R value giving you a, what, refracted R? No, it's a physical geometric value. Well, if you haven't got R, because you haven't got a geometric horizon, the edge of your sphere, you haven't got geometry to base 7/6R on. So that also falls by the wayside. This infinitely bending straight line, which is what they do with infinitely changing its path from straight, and then changing it again and again and again and again till it gets to your eye to be claiming to be bending it out to look flat. The world of double speaking globeheads is astonishing when you think about this terrestrial refraction. Go on, Paul.
I've been playing with the simulator trying to get light to bend over something where you can see it, and it's really hard. You have to get. I've not been able to fully pull it off yet, but you have to put multiple layers of a lens. This light source has to be at a certain position. But the thing is, the closer you put the light source to the ground, like if I put a blocker in here, let's see, like I could put a blocker in here like this. You see, you'd have to try to figure out how to put it in the right position, because if you think about it, let's say this blocker is the surface of the earth, or so to speak. They always show the light having to travel upward and over. Well, if it's close to the surface, that's almost impossible to get it to go over something. I've been playing with it. I can't get it to do it. If somebody can do this,
you can't.
Come back and show it. Go for it.
Well, you can't.
Hey,
You're
Paul,
trying to work with a model.
Right,
so, just 1 second, Babs. You're trying to work with a model of actual refraction. You're changing the trajectory of this light from straight. But it's always a straight path that it's deviating from if you're at that point of transition. So this deviation here is a deviation from straight to straight. So you're never going to create this curved path to bring stuff up and around and over. And neither does any actual effect of refraction do that. That's not an effect of refraction. So it's never going to do that. Them showing it in a salt solution with a gradiated salt in water that's steadied after a day of settling, giving you a gradation, you can do it in that. That's in no way analogous to our atmosphere, though. So you're never going to do it unless you've actually got their gradiated, continuous change of density, which they have in their salt or sugar solution. Is that you banging and making all that noise, Anthony?
No, it's just the dog having a cough.
Oh, sorry.
Sorted now.
Hey, Nathan.
Hold on, just 1 second, man. Just 1 second. Go ahead, Babs.
Ah.
No, I was just trying to get a hold of Paul. He's on Discord. He just messaged me right now. So okay. I think I might be good.
Go ahead, 10th man.
Yeah, before we go to Babs's pictures that he wants to show, they're saying that terrestrial refraction is curved atmosphere that mirrors the Earth's curvature, correct?
It's based on the presupposition of the R value of Earth's curvature, yes.
Yes, thank you. So the curved atmosphere that terrestrial refraction begs the question for cannot be there if the curve of the Earth is not there to begin with. It's a 7/6R, correct?
Their refraction of 7/6R is a geometric-based refraction, utilizing the geometry of the R value, correct?
Thank you. So you've said it already many times. It just needs to be made clear. If R isn't what they say it is, then everything they've said about this terrestrial refraction, a curved atmosphere, as if gases are going to do that. But anyway, it is off because the black swan and the Motor shows that they don't have the geometric curve to begin with. So the whole thing is a train wreck.
Yeah. Previously, we would say that 7/6R was a begging the question fallacy on steroids, when you could trust in R. So you've got your base premise, your base assumption, R, giving you a geometric horizon. And then you base your assumption with a further assumption that light will bend through the atmosphere at the same rate as your geometry, 7/6R. So it's a begging the question fallacy on steroids if you have a faith in R. If you don't have R, because you no longer claim you've got a geometric physical sphere edge for a horizon, then you've not got anything to base 7/6R on. So that just crumbles by the wayside. It's not like you even need to ridicule it for being a begging the question fallacy on steroids anymore. You've got nothing to base R on. So what do you mean 7/6R? What's R? Your physical sphere edge? Well, no, you don't have a physical sphere edge for horizon. You're all telling us how it's non-physical, non-geometric, apparent, redundantly used. But it must be geometric. It's defined as geometric. It's marked with an X labelled horizon in your model that's geometric. It's game over. Got nothing. Zero. Nada. Checkmate. Game over. All we're waiting for them to do is knock over a king that they're refusing to do because they're all preferring to shoot themselves in the faces and run around like headless chickens than knock the king over and admit defeat. I would be intrigued for somebody to, if it's you, Anthony, then great, go through what Soundly's actually done.
Yeah, I've done it. I've sussed it.
Oh, okay, that was quick.
We're seeing 16 miles from the point where the bridge appears to meet the sea. At least 16 miles. I'd say it's further, but I can prove that we're seeing at least 16.5 miles. So on that basis, the horizon should be 3 miles if Soundly's 6 foot tall. So let's say that Soundly is 6 foot tall and the horizon is 3 miles, just for the sake of maths, calculations and stuff. Then that, if it was Earth curve, then it should curve into the water at just 3 miles. So they're going to say, oh, it's a refracted horizon. And then we're going to say, well, that means it's not the curvature of the Earth that's being demonstrated then, right? And he's going to have to admit it. So if he then admits that Soundly's not showing curvature of the Earth, then he debunks Soundly in doing it.
You don't need anybody to do that. You just need to format it into a proper presentation and back your 50. How long's the bridge?
I know, but it's far more valuable if Rumpus is forced to admit it rather than me claiming it.
What's your hard on for Rumpus all of a sudden?
Because he claims to be the self-promoted refraction expert that nobody else understands but him and whoever it was.
Well, Mr. Air is not the atmosphere. Who cares?
Yeah. But if he then says if he's forced into admitting that Soundly's not showing Earth curvature and he's showing a refracted horizon that isn't actually Earth curvature at all, then that he debunks Soundly.
He already admitted it, Anthony. He already admitted it by saying we do. We don't.
Why do you need Rumpus to do it with Soundly? Get Soundly on.
What was the question, Nathan?
Get Soundly on. It's his observation. It's his claim.
He's not on anymore, is he? He's not in it anymore. He's gone.
I mean, he's gone.
He hasn't put any videos up for a long time.
Well, maybe if you pointed out that he's actually proving Earth's flat with one of his observations that's been harked over for about 2.5 years, maybe he'll prick his attention up. And if it doesn't...
we don't need him. It's far better getting Rumpus to admit that Soundly doesn't show Earth curve.
I don't want him. He's a liar. We've already had this conversation. With Soundly's observation.
No, but it's far better getting Rumpus to admit it, though, because he's an idiot.
Yeah, I really need the testimony of idiots to back our argument.
No, but I like the execution of the idiots.
Well, okay, whatever.
Off with his head.
The debate is we're not here to punish people. We're here to make a concise argument. It's been done already.
Yeah, you might not be. You might not be. Off with his head.
That can happen in battle, and often does. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're here as executioners. All metaphor, by the way. Don't want to hear any crap about this in the comments because people are so retarded they think this is being actualised, reified. We're not actually chopping anybody's heads off here. The fact that I even need to make that disclaimer kind of makes me feel a little bit sick. But there we go. That's the world we live in. Surrounded by dumbos.
2 more minutes to go. So Nathan, do you want me to do it after housekeeping, or when you say, is there any evidence of scientific curvature?
I think you should do it after considerable scrutiny. That's what I think. I think it's great that you've already done it.
I'm happy with my analysis already. I'm fine with it. They've got to prove.
Well, let's go through your 5th grade school report and see if you're being a little bit hasty.
I don't mind.
I don't care if you mind. Just, oh God, save me the aggravation. I pray to Foucault. Please don't let him do it.
Which Foucault?
Just don't
Leon
do it.
or Michelle.
Let's just talk about it amongst ourselves. There's no rush. I'd rather.
No, we have done. I've done it. It's fine. I can show that we can see 16 miles.
God. Okay, do it.
I'm all right. I don't mind poking the bear, Nathan. It's all fair.
Okay, fine.
Who are we poking?
Poking soundly.
Well, anyone that thinks Soundly's got evidence of curvature of the Earth.
Soundly.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's see if I can get Rumpus in. Where is he? He hasn't responded.
Wait, so what do you mean? You mean to say that Soundly's pictures aren't the geometric horizon?
Basically.
I just sent him a message saying, get your ass in here, big boy. Let's see if he joins.
Because I've been wondering that myself. So if there is no geometric horizon, we've never seen it. Well, what are we seeing in Soundly's picture? Would that be
exactly
a parrot? I don't know, because I remember being told that was actually the physical curve of the Earth.
Yeah.
So
that's the point.
what's going on? Well, yeah. I hear you.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcomed back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Chocolate Sane, Sleeping Warrior, Paul Hall, 10th Man, I think Righteous Force has disappeared, but a whole bunch of people in Discord as well, so welcome one and all.
Hey.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hello. Any evidence of a physical Earth curve edge capable of geometric measurement?
No.
Nah.
Any signs of any Earth curvature?
Not from
no.
Ojai.
Lots of apparent horizons that are claimed to be Earth curve, but no actual curvature.
Any signs of axial rotation?
Only if you look at the stars and fantasize.
That's scientific evidence of gravity.
I can't even define gravity, Nathan, let alone demonstrate it.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No.
Any single viable hypothesis from any of the fields of astronomy, cosmology, or astrophysics?
Not yet.
No.
Any evidence?
Seat of the pants.
Guesswork.
That's full of them.
Leaps of logic.
Any evidence of the R
Somebody
value?
just woke up.
Who woke up?
Go out and make an observation of the horizon, and you'll be there with an R value.
Or is that
What R
evidence?
value?
Is that evidence of the R value?
Yeah, because you can work out the R value from just an observation of the dip angle. Simple.
Dip angle?
Oh, really? Dip angle to what?
To the horizon.
Which horizon? The apparent horizon or the geometric horizon?
Well, you can only see the apparent horizon, but if the conditions are sufficiently favourable and you're up high, then that's reasonably close to the geometric horizon to mean that you can do a quick calculation to get R. As Al Bruni
So
did.
on the Black Swan, if we were to get a theodolite and measure the dip angle, we would be measuring it to 10 times greater than what the actual horizon, the geometric horizon, would be at. What would that do
Correct.
to the maths for the size of the Earth?
You don't pick a day like that for the Black Swan.
Oh, so you cherry pick one that fits your model, right?
That's cherry picking.
Well, refraction changes, so you
No, it's
pick
just cherry
on the
picking.
day
Then.
which has got
That's cherry picking.
conditions.
That's cherry picking. That's
Well,
called
you're
the
cherry picking the Black
That's
Swan
called-
picture.
Sorry, let's just clarify this. He's whistled past it. It's called the Texas sharpshooter fallacy. So you're saying you put your little target around the shot grouping that looks the best.
The point is, the refraction conditions change.
Oh, are you
not
ignoring
the
me?
point.
You're ignoring me.
Yeah,
That's called cherry
I'm giving
picking.
you the answer.
I've pointed out a fallacy and you've ignored it. This isn't going to go very well if you keep ignoring me. You keep ignoring me, you're a coward. Are you scared of the truth? Are you scared? Are you scared of the truth?
I'm going to give you an answer.
You keep saying the same thing. Are you scared of the truth? You don't require an answer. I've pointed out a fallacy.
I'm trying to give you an answer.
Okay, he's talking all the way through me. He's been pummeled really quick. Now I'm going to mute you. I'm going to tell you that I'm doing it. Audience, I'm muting him because he hasn't stopped talking. Verbal diarrhea. Through me pointing out for the third time that he's utilised a logical fallacy called the Texas sharpshooter fallacy, where he will put his little target around the group of shots that best suits his argument, as opposed to taking in every piece of evidence. That's also known as cherry picking. Now, that's a logical fallacy, and I want you to address that.
You twat. You're
excuse me, that's an ad hominem attack. That's the second use of a fallacy, so I'm going to mute him again for the audience's benefit. I've muted Rumpus, because rather than attacking or rebutting his use of a fallacy that I've pointed out, he's called me a twat. That's an ad hominem attack, attacking me, the man, not the argument. So that's two uses of a fallacy in this instance. His first fallacy I've pointed out and he hasn't addressed. His second fallacy is now an ad hominem attack on me. So I'm going to unmute him and see if he can address the first fallacy of cherry picking. See if he addresses it.
Stop muting me, you twat. Right.
That's the third time. So I've taken him off mute and given him a chance, and he's appealed to format. Talked about the fact he's been muted. He's been muted because he had verbal diarrhea and obfuscated his logical fallacy of Texas sharpshooter, otherwise known as cherry picking, putting a target around the shot group, ignoring all evidence. Apparently that one's not good enough. It's not the right conditions for his shot group. It's a fallacy. He hasn't addressed it yet. He's ad hommed me. Then he's appealed to format and ad hom me. So don't mute me, you twat. No, don't rumpus me. Don't talk through your use of fallacy and ignore it and whistle past it. And then ad hom me. So no, I'm going to take you off mute, and your choice will be to either ad hom me, appeal to format when I'm opening the mic for you to defend your use of the Texas sharpshooter fallacy, or not. It's up to you. Go.
You coward. You're the one using the
Coward is an ad hominem attack. So he immediately opened with another fallacy. That's 4 fallacies so far. I'll reiterate for the 5th time that he's used a logical fallacy of the Texas sharpshooter, cherry picking the evidence that suits his argument. That's what he's guilty of. 5 times in a row he's defended it with fallacy. I'm going to take you off mute and see if for the 6th time in a row you attack me personally, attack the format, or The whole point of why you're doing that, ignore the fallacy you're guilty of, cherry-picking evidence. Go.
You twat, you coward.
That's the 6th time in a row he's attacked the man, called me a twat rather than addressing the argument. I'm opening the mic for a 7th time, Anthony. He's not addressing his Texas sharpshooter logical fallacy you pointed out. He wanted to whistle past it. What should I do? 8th attempt? See if he attacks me personally. It's your point, Anthony. What do you want to do?
To be honest, Nathan, given that I've got the choice, I'm going to beg for clemency for my friend Rumpus here, because I actually want to have a conversation with him. And I'm going to beg in return, Rumpus, that you try and avoid swearing and screeching at us, because I want to talk to you about soundly.
That's fine. So don't mute me.
Thank you.
No, I'll do what I like. I'll do what I like. Let's stop him in his tracks.
You're not going to let me speak again, you twat.
I will do precisely as I choose. Do not give me orders. I run the show. If you object to me running my show, then go away. I will do exactly as I choose. Don't give me orders. That's what I'm ordering you to do. Don't tell me what to do. I'll give the orders here, Rumpus. If you don't like that, tough luck.
You're a coward. You're the one.
That's an ad hominem attack. Boy, we've even started. That's the 7th use of a logical fallacy. 7 times, you fallacious moron. That's not an ad hominem. It's fact. Fallacious, moronic. You, fact. Stop ad hominem me. That's an order.
You're a coward, and you're
another ad hominem. Is that 9? 9 in a row. Anthony, all he can do is ad hom me. He's attacking me personally continually. You think I should allow this person to be here? Is this a reasonable debater in this section of the argument? You want to talk about soundly? He's attacked me personally 9 times.
Rumpus, I begged for clemency on your behalf, and then I begged you for kindness, and you agreed. Just stop talking and let's have a conversation.
I did want to talk to you, but he interrupted. He muted me again when I was talking to you.
That's another appeal to format. You can do about it. It's another appeal to format. I run this show. You do not appreciate or respect the fact that I run this show. I am in charge. That's a fact that you don't like and don't want to accept. I am in charge here.
I'm happy to talk to you, Anthony, but if he keeps interrupting me, I can't do that, can I?
Just stop talking to him and address me instead. Can you do that?
Okay, but I just want to say he's the one using the sharpshooter fallacy, not me. But I think the black swan, that is a sharpshooter.
So what he's now done, Anthony, is reverse the burden of proof. So he's juxtaposed his logical fallacy and not addressed it. He's now said, I'm guilty of something. I've not claimed anything. You, Anthony, have claimed he's guilty of cherry picking. I've asked him to address it, and on 9 times, he's attacked me. Now he's reversing the fallacy you've claimed he's guilty of, and claiming me, who's not claimed a damn thing, is guilty of the fallacy he's used. It's infuriating, Anthony, and no reasonable man would see it as anything other than totally infuriating. I haven't claimed a damn thing, Rumpus.
Okay, all right, let me address it. Nathan said, I pointed the finger at you, Rumpus, for cherry picking. And Nathan agrees that it is cherry picking if you go on days that are not suiting your model and only going on getting results that favour your perception. That is, by definition, cherry picking. Now,
okay,
I think that you can be dishonest.
He hasn't finished talking, so I've got to mute you, Rumpus. You fucking coward. Yeah, I can do it too, you coward. He hasn't finished talking, so I've got to control you because I'm in charge of you. And I'm going to put you under control because you started talking through him, didn't you? Disrespectful little twat. Coward. Let's not Rumpus the truth. Let's let Anthony have his say. Don't talk, Rumpus, or I'll have to control you. Shut up. Go ahead, Anthony. Go ahead, Anthony. We'll see if Rumpus immediately talks. I suspect he will.
Rumpus, he's going to kick you if you don't just listen for a minute. Just listen, right? Okay. Forget about the cherry picking thing.
He's incapable. He thinks you've already made a point, Anthony. You're yet to actually make a point. All you've done is said that's cherry picking. And we've had, 5 minutes? He's still yet to address his cherry picking. He's claimed I'm cherry picking something. For the love of God, no, I'm not. I'm pointing out Anthony's highlighted your cherry picking. You've claimed I am. Complete buffoonery because you're a moron. You've also used 9 logical fallacies and attacked me on 9 separate occasions for addressing the fact that you haven't actually got to the point. You using a fallacy. He's now going to expand on that, and you think he's already made his point? Yeah, he has. You're cherry picking. Hello? Go ahead, Anthony. I'll have to keep him on mute because he can't not talk through you.
It's obvious that you're cherry picking, Rumpus, right? And I know you're going to defend it, but I don't actually want to talk about the cherry picking allegation. I want to talk about soundly, because as you know, there's the black swan evidence. And I'm wondering if we can see the horizon at 10 miles behind the second platform, and we say it looks pretty flat, and you say it's actually the refracted horizon, then I'd like to apply that against Soundly's work critically and see whether Soundly's work showing Earth curve or is it showing something else, refracted horizon. Now, every baller I've ever spoke to says that Soundly shows Earth curve. Now, I'd like to know if you can just answer that one question. Do you think that Soundly shows Earth curve or not?
Right, let's get it straight. The cherry picking is going on is with the Black Swan picture, but you are right to say that I am picking some things rather than others.
No, Lumpus, it's not.
Anthony, I can't.
Jesus.
Anthony, go ahead.
I just had, 5 words I got then? Jesus Christ. Right, I'm going to respond to you, Anthony, properly with everything, the points you're making. Yes, you can argue I've made a selection on the benign conditions for the Black Swan image, whereas and you are saying, well, the conditions you're picking are correct. But with refraction, you get different conditions. So the trick is to determine which ones most closely reflect reality. Now, going on to the Soundly thing, his images often and repeatedly show in benign conditions the Earth, the bridge curving and the Earth curving. So it does reflect that, but that doesn't take away the point you're making, which is that refraction changes. And so you've got to be careful not to pick a day in which you get weird conditions like occurs with the Black Swan image, because in the Black Swan location, you've got this cold current, and particularly this time of year, you've got warmer air coming over cold water, and that leads you in that particular place very often to high refractive conditions.
Rumpus, stop talking, let me respond. All I've done is literally in the pre-show that you weren't privy to. I just went back to one of Soundly's previous videos. Nathan, would you present my screen? And Rumpus, if you've not got the live feed on, would you put it on so you can see what I'm looking at? Because you're going to need to see what I'm looking at, okay? Now, I'm going to assume that Rumpus is doing what I've asked him to do and he's getting it on the live feed, okay? So this particular video from Soundly, Lake Pontchartrain Causeway 3, Nikon P900, dated 27th of June 2017. Rumpus and his friends claim that we are seeing the curvature of Earth. So in the background, I'm just going to play the snips from where he builds up to it so that everyone can see what we're looking at. Ignore my phone. And what we can see here is that he's clearly, like, at the most, he's 6 feet above the water, if assuming that Soundly is greater than 6 feet. I don't know how tall Soundly is, but let's just say that he's 6 feet off the water. We know that at 6 foot high above the water, the horizon, the geometric horizon on your model, is 3 miles away. Now I'm going to play what we can see. So according to Soundly's own evidence, so we're now applying it to what we can see. Now, when he zooms in, we can see that these mile markers have got 1/10 of a mile each post. And we can see into the distance, it becomes that obscured and squashed that we can't really make out how many we're looking at. But what we can make out is that there is the first hump where the boats go through, and there is the second hump in the background where the boats go through. So we can use the mile markers, and we can use the humps of the bridges for where the boats pass under for the distance, okay? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to Google Earth, and as you can see, I've plotted, I found out which side of the bridge he was at. He was at this side that's down here. I'll show it. So I'm not sure how you guys reference this. The Metairie side. He's on the Metairie side, whatever that means. I'm not familiar with the area. Obviously, I'm a Brit. But I found where he is. So if I move this ruler out of the way a minute, this concrete block here, and it's quite awkward to use this, and these buildings here are represented at the beginning of the video, which is here. So these buildings in the background, pay attention to this concrete block. This tall building, the concrete block, that is represented by this concrete building here, and then the building that's there in the background, which you can just about see. Now, there we go. So I know where Soundly was when he took it. I know the horizon is 3 miles away. What we need to know is how far away is the bridge thing, the pass under for the bridges. So if I now zoom out a little bit and I go across, I'm looking for I can't remember what the name of these things are. They've got a weird name, a word that I'm not familiar with. But I can find the parts where the bridges go, where the boats go under. So all I'm doing is I'm looking for the tramway. I'm going to call it a tramway. It's not a tramway, but a guide. There we go. There's one of them. And we see that in the image from Soundly when it gets to about here. There's the first one that's in the picture now.
There's the first one. So what we're looking for is where the second one is. And as we know, the horizon is the point where the sky appears to meet the sea or the land. And we see the second one in the image. So I'm looking for the second one, which is here. And this point would be the point where the bridges go, the boats go underneath. It's the apex of the bridge. And we do see the apex, but we see it coming back down on the other side as well. So we can safely and reliably say that it's some distance away from it. I don't know exactly how far, but I've put it to an arbitrary point that's around about here. But the problem is when you put your line in, it says that it's 16 miles away. So we can see that it is about 16 miles away for the distance for where the sky appears to meet the land. But if it's a geometric edge that this is showing, the curvature of Earth, that would require a geometric edge at 3 miles, but we're seeing 16. So we would say that's an atmospheric effect called, whatever, like bit of fog, whatever we want to call it. And we would say it's not the geometric curvature of Earth the way that we were told when Stanley first brought this stuff out. However, Rumpus has got to argue that this is the geometric edge, but it's clearly not.
Stop. Go ahead, Rumpus.
Right, you seem to be confused by seeing the top of that hump, not the bottom. The bottom, even the first one, you probably can't quite see the base of the leg. So you're getting confused between seeing the top of something, which is obviously much higher than the horizon, and the base of this thing. The base of this thing is well behind the horizon. I mean, you're utterly confused.
I agree.
Let me respond, Rumpus.
Hold on.
So,
I agree. You're talking about the top stanchions, and he's talking about the horizon.
Yeah, but hang on. The first one goes up and then it comes down, and we see by the continuation of the road that it does come down. So we can safely say we're seeing all of the first rise and then fall.
Anthony, the bottom, we can't even see the bottom. I think I'm right in saying here we can't even see the bottom of the first one.
Yeah, we can. The first one is here.
The bottom leg of the first one, and we certainly can't see the bottom. The bottom leg of the second one is well below the horizon. And you were arguing, I think you were implying that we could see 16 miles on the surface of the sea, but we can't. We can see 16 miles to something.
Anthony, stop. Carry on, Rumpus. Sorry.
Right. So the point is, Anthony, you made some mention of 16 miles, and as though that was a problem. But yes, with the thing that's 16 miles away that you can see is up in the air. It's not.
That's because you're not looking at the horizon. We're seeing the first hump, Rumpus. Hang on. Let me respond. We're seeing the first hump and it comes back down and continues on. We see the apex of the second hump and it comes back down. And at some point, I agree, we can no longer see. But we're not at the horizon at this point. The horizon is the point where the sea appears to meet the sky. So it's some point beyond the apex.
But Anthony, the bit that when we start to lose things from the bottom up is much closer. It's near that first pillar. That's where the horizon things are over the horizon is by the first pillar. The fact that we can see things up in the air, it's like saying you can see an aeroplane. The horizon doesn't interfere with that. If you want to talk about the hidden amount, I think that first pole you've got is probably just on the horizon. So the horizon is at the first pole. I don't know how far you said that was away.
Well, let's figure that out. Hold on, Anthony. Let me just acknowledge. Can you just acknowledge that you understood what Rumpus has just explained to you?
Yeah, Rumpus is saying, I don't know what you're referring to with the first pole. Are you referring to this pole?
No, the next one along.
No, the first bridge, sorry. Okay, the first bridge thing you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when the bridge comes back down,
that thing, yes,
the causeway again.
So we're only just able to see the base.
One at a time.
You need to go further.
Hold on, both of you.
Get to the horizon.
Hold on, just one of you at a time. I just want Anthony to acknowledge what you've said, Rumpus, and he's now hovering over the correct position, but he's not hovering over the correct
Hold on,
Rumpus.
Rumpus,
I'm trying to clarify your position. Just move your mouse down, Anthony, to the horizon. Right. That's where he's saying. That's the distance.
But the problem is there's more distance involved. And to go with this bit here being the horizon is incorrect, Rumpus. It's where the sky, in this case the bridge, meets the surface of the water. And we haven't got to that point. We're not at the point of convergence. So you need to go further. And we can see that there is another hump. We see the apex of the hump, and again, that's not the horizon.
Hold on, Anthony. Anthony, you can let him respond. He's disagreeing. I just want to hear him disagree. Go ahead, Rumpus.
Right, Anthony, just because there's a bit sticking out from the horizon, that doesn't mean to say that we're talking about whether or not the base of that arch, or whatever it is obscured by the horizon. And I believe that it's just about on the verge of the horizon. The base of that thing, the first bridge thing, the base of that pillar where it meets the water is obscured by the horizon. The fact that the thing's got height is irrelevant. The point is, you can obviously see things that are higher up because the hidden value in the Earth curve calculator tells you how much of something is hidden. And it will tell you, I suspect, that for that pillar that we see there that's part of that bridge, it'll probably say there's just a few feet missing. And then the horizon obviously obscures more and more.
Okay, hold on, Rumpus. Hold on. Go ahead, Anthony. Can I just see your final response to this? Because, like I say, there's more investigation to establish precisely. I'm not agreeing with either of you at this stage. I'm just saying more is required to figure out what the horizon point that you're trying to define is. But I just want your closing remarks, and then I've got a quick question for Rumpus, and hopefully we can move on.
Well, for Rumpus's point to be valid, that deprives me the depth of field that we still see in the image, and that's evidence that we can use. Now, I don't accept that the horizon is where he says it is, because we've got far more depth. And we know that the closer to the horizon we get, we know that the distance between the miles gets more and more compressed because of convergence. And that's what I'm being deprived of if you limit me to the point
I got your point.
See in the image.
Okay, we got it. Rumpus, go ahead.
Right, you don't seem to understand, Andy. We talk about the things, their bases being obscured by the horizon. So the horizon is the first time something gets obscured, the base of something. And I believe, looking at that, the base of that first bridge is being obscured by the horizon. Obviously, the top of it's not being obscured. That's why we have the hidden value in the Earth curve calculator. We tell you how much from the base something is missing. And obviously, the second bridge thing, you're missing great wads of it behind the horizon.
Okay, thank you.
But
I think we got your point. Thank you, both of you. Brilliant. So my question, Rumpus. This horizon, is that a geometric horizon?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that horizon, yeah. I can't hear you.
I'll say it really slowly and really clearly as I move my mouse over what I'm asking you about. Is this a geometric horizon?
No, it's an apparent horizon.
Oh, that's redundant. All horizons are apparent. What are you babbling about?
Correct.
I'll ask again. Is that a no? I'll just clarify your answer. Did you say no, it's not a geometric horizon?
It's an apparent horizon.
That's
and
redundant.
It's not
Second time. It's a yes or no. Closed question. I'll ask third time. See if he obfuscates. I think I got a no. You said no, it's apparent. Apparent's redundant. Is it still a no, regardless of the apparent redundancy you've inserted? Is this horizon geometric? Yes or no?
It is an apparent horizon.
All horizons are apparent. I've heard that.
Let me answer. I
heard all horizons are apparent. We've covered that.
Give me 5 seconds.
Shut up. Second time is obfuscated with the same shit answer. All horizons are apparent. That word is redundant. I just need a yes or no. I'll ask it for a third time. Is this horizon geometric?
There's a special term for geometric horizon, and that is one in which you use straight lines. It is a function of the Earth's geometry plus refraction. There are two factors. There's part of the Earth's geometry, and then the refraction moves it. So there are two factors, two causes for the position of the apparent horizon. One, Earth geometry. Two, refraction. They come together to give you the apparent horizon.
So I'll ask for a third time. Is that a no? This horizon is not.
There's a special term.
I'm talking. I let you speak unimpededly. Why are you censoring me? Ladies and gentlemen, see, this is why I've got no choice. Fourth time. I'm trying to gain clarity from your saying that what we see is based upon something geometric, but also something that is nothing to do with geometry. That would be refraction. Now, your refraction's based on geometry. That would be an R-value-based refraction. I'm asking a simple yes or no question for the fourth time. Is this horizon geometric? Yes.
It has a geometric basis, yes, plus refraction.
Geometric basis, so it's not geometric then?
There's when we talk about the geometric horizon, that's a special thing. It's the horizon when you're just using straight lines. But the Earth's geometry plus refraction gives you that horizon, which is based on the Earth's geometry, but we don't call it the geometric horizon because the geometric horizon is a special term that is for when you're using straight lines for the light rays. So
we don't call this the geometric horizon. We don't call it that, meaning it's not that. We don't call this the geometric horizon, according to you.
Correct.
So it's not the geometric horizon.
Correct.
So your model has got a geometric horizon. It's marked with an X and labelled horizon in your geometric model. And this horizon is not that. We only have one horizon. Your model's horizon is geometric.
No, we have a geometric horizon and we have
No, we
an
don't.
horizon.
You've just made it perfectly plain, Rumpus, that we don't have one. I had it on screen and you made it plain that that is not the geometric horizon. Your model...
Correct.
You're talking... Yeah, I know you said correct. You don't need to talk through me while I reiterate the point that your model has a horizon. Its horizon, your reification of a sphere Earth that excludes perspective, it's the geometric horizon. It's marked with an X, labelled horizon, and apparent based on height. However, as you've just disclaimed, the horizon we observe is not that.
Correct.
Right. Thank you very much, Rumpus. That's all I need from you. We don't have a geometric horizon, ladies and gentlemen, by the admission of the fundies. The model has a geometric horizon. The sphere model, globe model you think you're living on if you're a fundy, has a geometric horizon. We only have one horizon. It's not geometric.
And it also means that Soundly is not showing the curvature of Earth. But then the question is, well, what is Soundly showing, Rumpus? Which is the overall point that I wanted to ask. Because if we were all told it was Earth curve, but as we know it's not Earth curving, what is Soundly actually showing?
Showing refractive effects, atmospheric effects. He's not showing geometry. That's all that matters. His model's based in geometry. And he hasn't got a geometric Earth curve edge for a horizon. The model's got one, but the pictures don't. It's game over.
Get an answer from Rumpus?
No, that's the end of his time here. What more do you want from him?
Oh, is he gone?
What more do you want from him?
I wanted the concession that Soundly's work's not showing the geometric curvature of the Earth.
He's already conceded that. He's already. I've got him to concede that. I drew my mouse over it and asked him if it was the geometric curve. I asked him if it was a geometric horizon. He said that is not the geometric horizon. Is it the geometric horizon? No, it's not. Correct. No, it's not. I've already got the answer for you.
I just wanted the application to Soundly so that in future we could soundbite it and say, well, Rumpus, your leading expert on refraction, says that Soundly is not showing the geometric curve of the Earth. That was what I wanted. Oh, with his head.
He has. That's precisely what he's done. We've got his images on screen. I've drawn a mouse over it, asked him specifically, is this a geometric horizon? Answer, no. The model, he does the mathematics though. That's got a geometric horizon. How many horizons do we actually have, Anthony?
Just one, Nathan.
And it's not geometric, like the model says it is. Right, that's the end of geometric sphere Earth assumptions. Bye-bye globe model, bye-bye R value giving you a geometric horizon. It's not this. They admit it.
So let's move the argument forward now, in the context of Black Swan, because the ballers are clearly getting cheesed off with Black Swan. Let's move it to the next base and say, right, if the Black Swan argument's bugging you lot, is Soundly's work geometric or not? And they're all going to say, yeah, it is. And we all know it's not. It's apparent. So it's non-geometric, right? So it's atmospheric. So it's not Earth curve. If it's not Earth curve, then Soundly's work's redundant. It's gone. It's obsolete. It's invalidated. It's been superseded by current science that tells us that the horizon is apparent. And Rumpus supports that. Thanks very much, Rumpus. Thanks for joining today.
He supports that we don't have a geometric horizon. This is not geometric, according to Rumpus. It's apparent. His mathematics of a sphere Earth do not deal in anything to do with apparent anything. Everything's an actual size, a feet and inches value. He even described how many feet and inches would be blocked by the physical geometry of the horizon. He later went on to deny. So he's going to use actual sizes and absolutely not use apparent sizes. So if he's telling us how apparent everything is that we see, his calculator can't cope with that. It's a geometric calculator with a geometric horizon, and actual sizes doesn't deal in apparent anything. So yeah, it's not just Soundly that falls on its arse. It's everything that asserts a heliocentric world based in an R value.
He actually did concede that the first time you asked him that. He just didn't want to repeat it.
Right. Babs has been waiting in the wings. Yeah. Hold on, let's just queue up Paul and Babs. Paul, you there?
Hey, Paul, are you still there?
I am. I just can't talk. I can still do the thing, though. Just
cool.
Come in.
Ready when you are, Babs. Got a picture of Earth with rods and sun rays.
Right. So if you remember last week, we covered how they were able to measure Earth's radius. Now, I made a subtle mistake just because when I did make this presentation, I had just taken a cursory glance at the information. So once I went over it in a little bit more detail, I just want to correct the subtle mistake that I made. It doesn't really make much of a difference, but it helps for context. So basically how they measured the radius was they took two separate data points and they measured the variance in shadow length. And the assumption that was made here was that varying degrees of shadow lengths are only possible on a spherical surface. And I'm going to demonstrate that that's not true. And that is where the assumption was made. They assumed that you can only get varying shadow lengths on a spherical surface, but I'm going to prove otherwise right now. Next image, please. I think we're going to need some harp music.
Elevator music. There we go.
Elevator music. Here we go. Okay, so this is just rehashing what we talked about last week, how if we were to measure shadow angles, they would intersect at some point. If we extend those two lines from those shadows, they will eventually intersect to form an obtuse triangle. And based on that, you can extrapolate what the radius would be using the circumference formula and pi. So next image, please. So here we can see that you can vary the length of shadows on a planar surface, and this is varied based on the proximity of the light source to the object that's being lit. So if the light source is lower, if it's lower than, if it moves lower, then the shadow is going to be longer, but if it's higher up, then the shadow's length is going to decrease. So this is based on the distance and proximity with the light to the object that's being lit. And this isn't dependent on the shape of the surface, because this can happen on any surface. It doesn't matter if it's curved or flat, this effect will still happen. So what they assumed was that it would only be possible on a spherical surface, and this disproves that completely. Next image, please. Here's just another example of what I'm talking about here. We can see that based on the proximity of the light source to the object that's being lit, that the shadow lengths vary, and this is on a planar surface. Next image. Okay, so now that we have debunked the R value and proven that it was fallacious in the means that were used to determine that we actually are on a spherical Earth that does have a radius. This next example here is somewhat related to what we're talking about before, because it also deals with angles and how the angles change based on proximity. Now, we've heard this before from the globe earthers, that the only way that we would be able to notice a 10-degree change in altitude when viewing Polaris is if we were viewing it on a spherical surface. And in reality, what we do observe is that the latitudes that we observe Polaris from are equal to the angles that we observe Polaris from those specific latitudes. So, for example, if I'm at the 30th degree latitude, I would be observing Polaris at a 30-degree angle. Or if I'm at the 60th degree latitude, I would be looking at it at a 60-degree angle. So the argument here is that this type of observation is only possible on a spherical surface because as we move away from that 90-degree mark, we start to have the curvature or the geometry of Earth obstructing what we're looking at in the sky. And this image that is above here demonstrates that if we were observing this from a flat surface, the angles wouldn't match up. They would be completely different. All right, so next image, please. Excellent. So how they arrived at that conclusion was what they did was they chose a fixed position for Polaris, and they measured the angles that would be required to observe Polaris based on that fixed position. So we can see that the only angles that match on a flat surface are the 90-degree angle and the 45-degree angle. And it is true that this is only possible. I mean, it is true that we wouldn't get matching angles as we see in reality, where the latitude is equal or equivalent to the angle that we're observing Polaris. But this is based on a fixed location. And this is not how we see things in reality. In reality, we see apparent distances and apparent positions of things based on perspective. So the further away we move from Polaris, its apparent position shifts based on perspective. And that hasn't been included in this particular diagram. They just work with one fixed position and say that because this fixed position doesn't match the angles that we see in reality, then this is impossible on a flat surface. And that couldn't be further from the truth. This is the hijacking of perspective that we've been discussing for several years now, where they completely ignore the effect of perspective and say that we're only looking at things at their actual positions or at their actual distances, which is true. We are looking at them at their actual distances, but perspective shifts the actual distance of what we're looking at and moves it to an apparent position, which I'm going to demonstrate next. Next image, please. Right. So here, what I did was I took a protractor just to measure the angles that we would observe in reality based on those distances. So for every 1 degree in length on this particular ruler here, 1 degree represents 69 miles. So 10 degrees would be 690 miles. So for every 690 miles, we notice a 10-degree drop in altitude for Polaris. And this is a constant drop, which we would observe based on perspective. So if you could just go through all those images, it would give you an idea of what we would expect to see and how this is analogous to realities. Next image, please. We're just going to cycle through these real quick, just so that you can see the apparent change in distance. So you can see it shifts right there. Next image, please. You don't have to open every single one of them because there are quite a few of them. This just demonstrates that the apparent position drops based on your distance away from it. So just, yeah, keep going down. You can see that the position is dropping all the way to 0. And that's what we see in reality as a result of perspective. Now for the last image here, I just want to use this as an example of this effect, this perspective effect. If you could open up the image of the light poles. So we can see here that the third light pole isn't smaller than the first light pole. Its apparent size has changed, or its angular size has decreased in relationship to everything around it. So the top of this light pole isn't shorter than the top of the first light pole. The top of the third light pole isn't shorter than the top of the first. Its apparent size and its angular size has changed to give it that effect that it is lower than the first light pole, but we know that it isn't lower. And this is what's happening with Polaris. With distance, we notice that the angle decreases, our viewing angle changes, and that changes the angle, the angular position of Polaris. But they've chosen to hijack that and say that because that's happening, we are on a curved surface. That would be tantamount to them taking a sextant and measuring this third light pole and saying that this third light pole is 20 degrees lower than the first light pole, therefore we're on a curved surface. Completely ignoring perspective, hijacking it, and saying that perspective is Earth curve. All right, I'm done.
Excellent presentation. About 5 years ago, a guy called Smokescreen Design did a very similar presentation, and you've done a better job and expanded on it slightly with your extension with this visual demonstration. Excellent job. Really good, Babs. Kudos.
Thanks a lot.
Your presentation skills have come on leaps and bounds, actually. I don't know if you've had like a second wind in this subject or something, but like in the last few weeks you've done several presentations that have all been really shit hot.
Oh yeah, I've been practicing since my first presentation on this show. I feel like I'm getting a little bit more confident and better at it. I still feel like I could do better than this, but yeah, I'm definitely working on improving.
Well, as I say, there was a similar presentation to my Smokescreen Design. I've shared it quite a lot. I'll probably trim out that presentation and share that instead because I think it's better. So that's high praise. Well, I don't know what else I can say. I mean, the standards are pretty high on this show in general. People's presentations are normally of a very high standard. So, Paul does lots of presentations, and his presentations tend to be very, very good. Other people do presentations that they just haven't got the level of spit and polish they require. But I can't think of any specific examples. I didn't Sleeping Warrior.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of our explanations don't really have examples to go with them. And it helps for the people watching if they have sort of visuals to visualize what we're talking about. It certainly does help because we can keep saying perspective or angular size change, but people can't visualize that. So when they see exactly what we're talking about, that definitely helps.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, they've hijacked perspective and called it Earth curve for both ground-based observations and sky-based observations. They've used the same trick in both instances. Insert an R value that we've debunked.
Yeah.
And no longer have.
Exactly. Like with the observations of Polaris from different latitudes, they're literally just using a protractor, because a sextant is a protractor. So if I go to different latitudes and I notice an angular size change and completely ignore perspective, then I could say that I'm on a globe based on that, but I'm not really being honest or realistic, because things change. The apparent distances of things that we're observing change based on perspective. That is a fact. Even children know that as a fact, but we have to keep explaining this to globe earthers. It's weird. I just don't understand why they don't get it.
Yeah, well, they've been brainwashed. We had Professor Dave, in quotes, putting a question forward in regards to seeing things at 1,000-mile distance. Now, the reason he's phrased the question as he has is because in his model of the Earth with its geometry, the feet and inches value will remain the same at any distance. So it doesn't matter what value you put. If you draw on a piece of paper a guy on the left of the page and a lighthouse on the right-hand side of the page, and then you draw a line between the two and say that that line is 100 meters or 100,000. It doesn't matter what you put on the value. The feet and inches value or the meters value for both of those things, the guy looking at it and the target, remains exactly the same. You can scale it up to 1,000,000 kilometers, and the target, it doesn't matter that you've written 1,000,000 on that line, you've still got the same size target. So according to that depiction, because they've removed perspective from their geometry maths with a physical Earth curve edge for a horizon, they don't expect us to have to include perspective when we're looking at something at 1,000 miles, according to his challenge. So, well, things get smaller. Your feet and inches value that you constantly assert as being lobbed off the bottom of things when they're very small in the distance is an angular relationship. But you're talking about an actual size and how much feet or meters is blocked from the bottom. And then assuming that you'd see New York from London, or New York from Wales, or New York from Ireland, I should say. The point being that it would be too small. Its angular size has got smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller till it's too small to see, and then beyond. So, yeah, in theory, you could get something that was a big enough telescope and bring it back at those distances. You could calculate how much you would need in terms of the size of the aperture, the magnification required, with the Rayleigh criteria. So you use the Rayleigh criterion, you apply it, and then you know how far away you could see something at a given size, in feet and inches, but it would be translatable to the angular size and the limitations of the aperture, and at what distance, based on the aperture, something would reach and breach the angular resolution limit. All of this is completely ignored in the Earth curve maths. How do you know? Well, because it's a feet and inches value that never changes.
Right. That's a problem with Muppet vision. It never includes angular size change, and it never includes atmospheric effects, which are things that we do observe in reality. Just like with the Polaris example, if you were to draw a fixed location on a piece of paper and you started drawing angles from the ground to that fixed location, that doesn't represent reality, because you're using a fixed position, and we know that in reality, when you move further away from things, their position changes. So basically all they've done is just looked at shifting positions of things in the distance and said that Earth curve is responsible for that, and completely ignored perspective.
Or to rephrase it, as I had done when I ridiculed the Earth curve calculator, they've hijacked perspective. That effect is the effect they call Earth curve. So you're saying with the example of the lampposts that the lampposts, the top of it, the actual size of each lamppost is identical, but the angular, you said angular size. I knew you meant angular position, but it's only a minor correction. But the angular position of each of the tops of those lampposts is decreasing. It's dropping towards the horizon. Well, if that was a star or a light bulb on top of it, analogous to a star, I know there were telegraph poles, it's not the point. Don't be pedantic, audience members and chat commenters, I hate you all. Anyway, if there's a light on top of those telegraph poles, and that light's analogous to a star, Well, obviously the star that's further away is closer to the horizon. Well, does that mean that we've angled ourselves back on the sphere edge? Well, no, it's an effect of perspective. But they've completely ignored it in both stellar and terrestrial observations, both of which are asserting that the effects of perspective are actually Earth curve. Hijacking perspective, basically.
Yeah, and that's why you have toothless crackheads that live in trailers like Sean Hawkins. Man, in the comments trying to call me a moron, but you're Popeye the Sailor Man. Sean Hawkins. Okay. You're not a scientist.
Yeah, don't poke the trolls.
Ask Sean if he has misplaced his geometric horizon the same way Rumpus has. Maybe he wants to come on here and tell us where it is, how we can find it. Because apparently we've never seen it.
The problem with Sean Hawkins is he tries to persuade people that the burden of proof is on us to prove flat Earth. And I'm like, what? You can't have any conversation with a guy that tells us that tells everyone that the burden of proof is on us. It isn't. It's clearly on science.
Burden of proof's on whoever's making the claim.
Yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about.
I know. I just need to remind people that the burden of proof is on science to prove that we live on the sphere that they tell us that we live on. It's absolutely not on us to prove otherwise. We're just asking for the proof. That's all we're doing.
No, that was back in the day when, they asserted that there was all this proof for scientific proof for the globe. Now they don't say that anymore, right? Now it's science doesn't prove things, apparently. That's their new stance.
You have one or two morons on their side that have key things that they stick to, and his key thing is that he thinks the burden of proof is on flat earthers to prove the Earth's flat. And I'm like, you idiot. We're not even saying that. Yeah, we might be suggesting it, but we are definitely saying we're not on a sphere, right? And it is your burden to prove that we are if you tell people that we've got curvature, gravity, axial rotation, etc. Hence why we have the housekeeping points, right? There are other people that have key points as well. Sean Little G doesn't accept Einsteinian gravity as the current science because he doesn't understand it. It's like, hello, just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's not the current position by your science.
Sean Little G still has to figure out whether rockets are actually matter or not. So he's still got a way to go.
Couple of things. When you say they now say science doesn't prove things, the reason for that is because we have demonstrated unequivocally that what they used to claim was science proving things is actually pseudoscience not proving a damn thing. So just to clarify, when a fundy globehead religitard zealot that thinks he's on a spinning ball flying through a sky vacuum says science doesn't prove things, what they actually mean is the pseudoscience I've been clinging to proves nothing. Science, on the other hand, absolutely proves things. It proves cause and effect. It validates, proves, or disproves your prediction, hypothesis. That's the point of doing it. To validate a hypothesis, to prove or disprove that which you assume causes an effect, is to validate scientifically, by means of experimentation, a hypothesis. So it does prove things. That's why people do it. So science proves things. Their pseudoscience they used to assert proved the sphere doesn't prove things. So no. Science proves things. Your pseudoscience doesn't. Let's not get confused about what science does. Just because you were using, you fundy globeheads were using pseudoscience. And just foolishly asserting it as though it was science, you were wrong. Doesn't mean science doesn't prove things. Just means you don't have any science.
You guys remember back in the day when they used to say, the body of science, Nathan?
Yeah, Rumpus used to say that. The whole body of science proves that we're on a sphere. Not anymore. Now, science doesn't prove anything. It's meaning pseudoscience that we used was debunked. Now we're going to claim it doesn't prove anything anyway, because they're sore losers. No, science is still empirical. It still proves cause and effect. It still does the same thing it ever did. You just didn't have it when you said you did.
Science had a body.
Yeah, that's right.
Lip Anna.
Correct. They're reifying science as an entity with sentience and thoughts and a body and eyes and feelings often. It's a method. Correct. Well said.
The other thing to remember is when they say things like, when they meaning ballers, when ballers say, science doesn't prove anything, just spit them back. Well, it doesn't prove that we live on a sphere then, does it either? Oops.
I had a couple of commenters say this to me about you, Anthony. They said, Anthony has said on multiple occasions that science doesn't prove the Earth is flat. And my response was, the Earth being flat isn't a cause and effect relationship. It's just beyond me. The objection to you stating, which is correct, no, science doesn't prove the Earth is flat, because the Earth is flat as a statement isn't a natural phenomena that needs establishment for cause. So no, Anthony's right. But you asking or objecting to that, well, you should have scientific evidence for the Earth is flat. That's a totally nonsensical question, phraseology for something that demonstrates admirably that the commenters who say things like that don't know what science is.
Is it not the case that they question what I said? The phrase I normally use is, there is no science for a flat Earth. Now, it's an innuendo. You can interpret it two ways. You can interpret it probably more. But if I say there's no science for a flat Earth, you can, if you're a baller, you can say, well, that means the Earth's a sphere then, by inference. Or you can say all the science has been focused on the heliocentric model because R is assumed. So it depends on how you interpret it. It's an innuendo, and I say it like that on purpose to stimulate conversation. So that they can ask me, what is it you mean by that? Because most people should recognize that it's an innuendo.
And with that, I'm going to say, if you're watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you're watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where just a couple of super chats I've not read out. Let's do that before I round out the show. So, massive shout out to, first and foremost, Chico Toei, or Tojay, says, Rumpus talks nothing but rubbish. Totally agree. Thank you very much for the super chat. Colin Turner, also shout out to you. Rumpus said that the Earth's geometry is a cause. But how can that be tested? Fail! Shout out to Colin Turner, thank you very much for the super chat. And also Pass Away Toe, it says, our reality has been hijacked by parasites. Absolutely correct. Thank you very much, all of you, for smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream. Another massive thank you to today's Discord and G Plus panels for making this live show possible. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Hey, QE.
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Did you see the show?
Sorry, no.
That's
right.
We
got Rumpus to concede. That Soundly doesn't show Earth curve after all.
I didn't hear you, Anthony. You were echoing a little bit.
We got Rumpus to concede that Soundly does not show Earth curve after all.
Mr. Air is not the atmosphere, and the second law doesn't apply to the Earth. You got him to say that.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
It worked out. I went back to
we needed him. Like we needed him to say it.
Just let him bask in the victory, God. QE. Otherwise, this will go on forever. Go on, Anthony.
I went back to one of Soundly's videos, one where he was, because I remember he did one where he was basically at water level. And I went and found one and give him 6 feet, and we know the horizon's 3 miles, but we can see 16 miles. And Rumpus was arguing that it's, but that's the refracted horizon. And we're like, yeah, it's not Earth curve then, is it? And he had to concede it because it's not Earth curve.
The refracted horizon, where's that?
Who cares? It's just that it's not Earth curve that Soundly proves.
Oh,
they dragged that
refracted
out.
Horizon. Did you welcome him to flat Earth?
What I basically did was got him to concede it over and over again. I didn't welcome him to flat Earth. That seems absurd with someone like Rumpus. But nevertheless, what I did after Anthony had that little discourse was to drag my mouse over the horizon, and I said, "Is this horizon geometric?" And I can't wait to go back and listen to it. I think I'm going to try and mimic the response. Mumble, 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 mumble. That was the response. I can't wait to listen back.
Doing that. That's why I wanted to pin him on it.
Yeah.
Mumble, 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 geometric mumble.
Nathan, you need to dedicate a splice video to it because we can reference it in future.
Oh, it's class. Ultimately, I was just waiting for the opportune moment to do that. And, you know, he'd been led into a full sense of security by Anthony arguing about something that ultimately he didn't get wrong, but it wasn't drawn to a conclusion. And then, obviously, you know, I had to support Rumpus in his assertion. He's like, no, you can't take the top of the bridges to assert where the horizon is marked at. And I agreed with him. He was right. But at that point, he's like, oh, great. Oh, I'm doing all right here. So is this horizon geometric? It's like, I just used the Spurs I'm going to call that the Spurs technique. Is this horizon physical? Shake the red off like that.
Nathan, let me just clarify. He was not right with his criticism at all. He was depriving me of the further distance because the horizon is the point where the sky appears to meet the land. In this case, it would have been the bridge. That was way further back. He wasn't right about that. I only allowed you to intervene there because I thought that you were going to pin him on the point that you actually pinned him on. Otherwise, I'd have been beating my drum there and then.
He was right. You were wrong.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
Are you just being a prick?
No, I'm not.
He wasn't right.
He was. You said that the horizon was based on that top marker. Well, your top marker isn't the point when you draw a line down with your mouse where the sky appears to meet the ground. And where he drew it, you could be easily argued that was... I didn't agree with either of you. Now I'm saying it, I am slightly doing it to antagonise you, I'll be honest. Only slightly. Because at the time I disclaimed, I don't agree with either of you. You'd have to figure out where it was. And what you got so far, neither of you made a good case. But he was right to criticise your case as being sound. It wasn't.
Yeah, but hang on a sec. The point, the horizon meets where the water meets the bridge is where the horizon is. Now, okay, it was blurred, but it was clearly beyond the apex of the bridge, which is what I said in the hangout. I didn't say the apex of the bridge was the horizon. I said it was clearly beyond that.
But that you could argue that's contentious. That point is contentious.
It is, but we're seeing up to at least that. So that's why, and then some point beyond it. So you're right, it is contentious.
Right, there you go. That's where I agree. That's it. That's where I agree. That's why I agreed with him and what I agreed with him. And I disclaimed I didn't agree with either of your points on surface level that you're correctly identifying, visually where you've got a marker point for a non-physical, non-geometric apparent horizon claimed to be mathematical and geometric, marked out in its physical location when it's not actual. It's a complete clusterfuck. So I can't agree with either of you on general principle because it's nonsense. The horizon's not a physical place to mark out with a little pin and give a postcode to.
Okay, so if you don't agree with either of us, you can at least retract your previous comment where you said that Rumpus was correct.
He was correct to object.
Okay. Well, that's fine. I'm all right with the objection. But the point I was making was that overall, we got him to concede that Soundly's horizon could not be geometric after all. That was the overall objection.
Yeah. And it needs to be. Their model's geometric. Their model's got one. And thank you to you, Anthony. Like, what's the Johnny on the spot, man? While I'm saying you're there with the Earth curve calculator zooming in and out on the word horizon with an X on it. I'm like, yeah, Anthony knows the score. Ace. That's on the recording. Brilliant.
I know. It was a brilliant hangout, actually. One that we'll be able to use against them all forever. Your leading expert on refraction states that Soundly's geometric horizon is actually perceived or apparent. It's not actually geometric.
Right,
sorry, he isn't proven Earth curve.
Here's where
the geometric horizon is apparent.
Perfect. I was just about to say, here's where I reintroduce quantum eraser.
The geometric horizon is apparent.
I know, but they all think that Soundly proves Earth curve. So who cares whether it's geometric or apparent or not?
Did you say apparent? Because you're one of these Muppets. Sorry, you are. You keep saying, with juxtaposition, apparent. And it's redundant. But you're using it too. You need to know that that's redundant and be parroting that. Because it is. All horizons, no exceptions. Doesn't matter whether you're describing something like they are. I'll take their position. So the horizon, according to them, is a refracted, based on geometry horizon. Right. Well, that horizon, by definition, is also apparent. The geometric horizon, move up and down, it physically changes where your obstruction lies, therefore also apparent. All horizons apparent. Doesn't matter which one you're describing. So it's completely redundant and definitely not capable of being utilised to give you two. which is what they're doing. And we definitely can't fall into the same trap. I did too. So I'll disclaim my guilt. I was checked. I had my wrist slapped by a quantum eraser. I'll phrase, I think this is a pretty much direct quote. He said, "What the fuck are you doing, boy? Give me 20. And I had to push ups and I was sweating. It was horrible. Anyway, he said, "Look, when you're giving this string of not actual, apparent horizon," I can't remember the full, I had a whole long list of redundant words. It's like, no. Look, they're all apparent. You need to understand that because they're now juxtaposing apparent with geometric, and it's redundant.
What's the correct word then?
Horizon. We've only got one. Theirs is geometric.
We just call it horizon.
Yeah, the horizon. That's why I dragged my mouse over it. Here is, on screen, I'll do it, pretend like it's the same horizon we had for Rumpus. I forget what, I sound new wrong, but it doesn't matter. Here is the singular horizon. Yeah? There it is. There is the horizon. And I asked him, is the horizon geometric? No, it's not. Well, that's game over. That's the end.
Welcome to Flat Earth.
Welcome to... Exactly, that's the end. Welcome to Flat Earth. Why?
Yeah,
well, because they've got a bullshit version of that. They've got a side-on marked in 2 locations. In this particular representation, we've got G and H. Right? Well, we don't have 2 horizons. They've also got a tangent line that's dotted. Well, what's this? You got bent line of visibility, straight line that you've got a tangent. Well, you're not seeing that. This is a complete hodgepodge. And is G or H, which is a single point marked on a curved edge in Muppet Vision, does either G or H, I'll ask you, right? So it's in Skype. I'm talking about the depiction, the Muppet Vision geometry with a donkey dick for a tangent line and 2 horizons. That's what I'm talking about, right? We've got G and H. Both are single dots, yeah? Do either G or H in any way, shape or form represent this line going from left to right on a picture of the horizon? The answer is, of course not. It's completely absurd. It's a straight line from left to right in actuality in what we observe. In their picture, it's 2 points on the edge of a curve in Muppet Vision. It's like so far removed from reality, it's absurd.
John, you need to go back over the last 15 minutes before Rumpus gets kicked. There's going to be a couple of key sound bites in there that you need to extract and stick in his Rumpus file, because he admits that the horizon is not geometric in Soundly's work. That's a big concession.
I'll do it because QE's not. Air is not the atmosphere. Second law of thermodynamics does not apply to the Earth. Do you if this guy's their poster child, run for the hills, fundies, man. This guy's a moron. Don't use Rumpus for referencing anything ever. He's a complete clown.
Nathan, can I ask Anthony a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
That was a good question.
Epic. You there, Anthony?
What's the question? Do I have tuberculosis?
I'm here. Yeah, I'm waiting for the question.
Yeah, sorry, dude. Did you see the video from Mr. Sensible last night?
Is it the one where he's trying to... I think I've already responded to it. Is it the one where he's trying to bend up the thing from behind the horizon and he can't do it?
No, where he was talking about certain words that you were using and he disliked it immensely.
No, I haven't seen it. Is it worth me watching, or is he just going to deny?
Well, just give us the lowdown. Who's talking in Discord? Just give us the lowdown of the video, if you would.
Yeah, basically he was going over the fact that Anthony was using certain words that he didn't like. I'm not going to say them just for my sanity, really. But I left a comment on there.
Just say them. We're all adults. Just say them. We're okay.
He was he was calling people spastics, and he didn't want it, basically. So I left a comment on there, basically saying, it's okay, just eat some more cheese. And his response to that was, well, you must be a retard then.
Okay.
So, hang on.
What was there? Was there anything in the video related to the argument other than use of language?
It seems to be a distraction.
I haven't been watching the other show. I've literally just come on, so I don't know what you were all sort of yapping about. But I just thought it was really ironic that he come up with the fact that he didn't like certain words being used, and then he called me exactly the same thing.
Sure. No, we got that. What I'm asking though is, when I said the argument, I didn't necessarily mean what we were discussing on the show now. I mean, what was his video actually about? While that might have been one issue that he touched on that's nigh on irrelevant, from memory, last time I... Go on.
It's basketball with the 4 dots on it. And he wasn't really talking about that. He was talking about the fact that he had Anthony on the show and everything was nice and civilized and there was no swearing. But then he commented on the fact that some of the comments that he'd been using in some of the questions and the responses contained the word spastic. And I just find it hilarious that his comment back to me was that I was a retard.
Who am I speaking to at the minute? Who's
Darren.
Speaking?
Okay, we got the irony. We don't need it a third time. I get it. But by the same token, his basketball argument is that the horizon's refracted. He's still sticking to the same I'm going to chop my own head off with a chainsaw argument, is he?
Yeah, but the video that he actually aired wasn't specifically about that. It was specifically about Anthony's use of words.
Oh, it was just about Anthony's. Great. Just about Anthony's use of words. I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Well, actually, what that is doing is moving away from the point that's being said. Now, I haven't actually seen this video, and I'm now inclined to go and watch it. But the point is that if he's going to divert away from the point that's being challenged and use that as some kind of excuse or whatever, then not only is he failing to address the point that he can't do, and he's using that as a distraction, he's actually trying to use that word in a context for which it wasn't actually being used. So without watching the video yet, I will go and look at it. But what I would say is, do yourself a little favor. Go on to Google, type in spastic definition, and then see what comes up, and then see whether it's been used out of context or not. And I think you'll find that the word is used as an informal insult, and it generally means like incompetent.
Yeah, so, I've done this, Anthony. Hold on, I just want to address that. Hold on. I just want to address that. I did that. Somebody called me on the same thing a few months back. And so I did a bit, not a massive amount, but a little bit of research on exactly that. Looked up a few definitions, looked up a few contextualizations and where it had been used. And I thought I'll find something, you'd like this because it's legally based. There was a game cartridge, a Nintendo game cartridge that changed a word. The word was spastic, used in a totally different context to this though. So that it was about a train being made to be not spastic, meaning deformed in that context. Now, it was removed from the game cartridge because, now this is the bit that caught my attention the most, the British vernacular in whatever you call it, slang, is the one that is the region that it was removed from or changed because of. Because according to the British slang, it's detrimental in the same way as retard to somebody with a mental handicap. So, from a politically correct point of view, while his point is completely obliterated by him then calling the person a retard, his point, if you want to go into those sorts of semantics, is actually correct. But it's the irony of irony. It's the Brits that actually make it correct. It's us that make it correct. Weird, eh?
No, that's not actually true, Nathan. I'm going to challenge that. Present my screen if you would, please.
Fine. Thought that was the end. Great.
You're looking up the word spastic? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it seems that way.
Share my screen, please.
Yeah.
So just to counter Nathan's
before you do,
correct.
Just before you do, 2 seconds. Meanwhile, the Earth curve edge claimed to be a physical geometric horizon no longer is and can't be based on R and game over fundies. But let's talk about spastics.
Okay, so I've always understood the derogatory slur of spastic to mean stupid crap, rubbish at what you do. Nobody thinks that the word spastic in this context means that you've got some kind of cerebral palsy or equivalent. No one thinks that. Now, if you want to make a victim out of yourself and claim that, you can do so. But let's look at what it says. Definition for spastic. Relating to or affected by muscle spasm. Clearly not using it in that context. He doesn't have muscle spasm. However, there is a second one. It's an informal, offensive one, and it simply says incompetent or uncoordinated. Forget uncoordinated. These morons that tell you stupid things like light can do what they claim it does using a lens are incompetent. That isn't what light does. He cannot bring the horizon back by 10 times the distance that's needed to explain what's going on in the Black Swan argument. So if he's going to claim victim status by applying the incorrect context, then that just makes you a fucking spastic, because I'm using the other one, which is the incompetent one. So your use of grammar is, again, incompetent. That, by definition, makes you a fucking spastic, Mr. Sensible, you idiot.
Yeah, can I just point out that the idiot at the end was redundant?
Yeah, well, no, it was an insult. It was perfectly... I'm happy insulting him.
Okay, right, moving on.
It's an informal, offensive statement to mean that you're shit.
You did well, thank you. So, more importantly, though, he has, as you correctly identified, moved away from the actual argument by attacking you. This is essentially a glorified ad hominem attack. So, you know, whether or not he's got justification in his political ideology in this regard, who cares? Who gives a shit? Literally, who cares? Probably nobody, I don't know, maybe his commenters care. But the argument is about the physicality of a geometric horizon necessitated by a geometric model claimed to be the ground beneath our feet, heliocentric sphere Earth world. And he is arguing currently that you can loom the horizon and trying to physically show you how he can refract it through a different medium of glass in the form of a lens. So he's demonstrating that you can have a non-geometric, non-physical refracted horizon. So has he not, at any stage of this argument before he got to ad homing you, appreciated that by doing so he's relinquishing the physicality and geometry his model requires? I just want to know if he's still shooting himself in the face and not realising it. I really like the smacking the C4 fire with a hammer analogy. That's what they're doing.
No, but we hadn't got to that point yet, because he wouldn't concede that he couldn't do the job that he wanted, that he was claiming that he could do. I said you can't get that horizon to be 10 times further back than the actual horizon, because I'm begging the question with him. I'm playing with the food before I kill it and then wander off into the distance like the orca whale does. But because he wouldn't even concede that he couldn't do it, right? We didn't actually get that far. But at some point, he is going to have to concede he can't do it. And when he does, that's when I say, welcome to Flat Earth, because his own argument to explain this fails. But yeah, we didn't get to the point where it's a refracted horizon, therefore it's not geometric anyway, because he just can't demonstrate it, but he won't concede he's been beaten yet. That's the problem.
Right. So a fresh look at truth has got another dude on his case. Wally something or other. And you've talked about him in the past. I happened to find him on a Black Swan search last night and watched his whole video. And he's talking about this, a fresh look at truth, and you and I. And he pauses Harry's video after he says words to the effect of, you know, if the horizon's refracted, it's not geometric, and you can't loom the horizon with respect to the horizon. That was it. So he's paused on this comment. You can't loom the horizon with respect to the horizon. He gives a few examples where you've even said it. And he hasn't realised that contextually when we say those words, we're talking about their definition of what the horizon must be on a sphere Earth. You can't loom a geometric horizon. To make it more concise, I'll say that again. You can't loom a geometric horizon. It's a contradiction in terms. Well, once he's got you saying something like, you can't loom the horizon above the horizon, he pauses the video and says, I think you can. And I'm like, I'm wetting myself. I'm like, keep smacking that C4 fire, mate. You think you can? What? You think you can make it non-geometric? Go on, mate. Go on, do it. you clowns.
Realize it.
They don't realise it. Yeah, that's what I told him I'd left him a comment. I'm like, yeah, you're literally trying to argue for how non-physical, non-geometric the horizon is, right? Good on you, mate. Yeah. Keep smacking that C4 fire.
This is why it's going to take a while for the baltards to realise that they're screwed.
They don't even.
Yeah, it's going to take a while. And once our side realise the strength of it, our side should eventually. I mean, shout out to Mark Sargent for sharing the video and narrating it. I messaged him and said, "Hey, listen, Mark, you need to check this out. He's only put music on it. If you speak over it and make the point, it's going to come across much better if you do it than just music on the background on that example." And he agreed, did it, and then represented it, and it's just brilliant. And Mark realizes Mark's got it. But what bugs me is that even our own side are not supporting this at the minute because of bravado or ego or pride or whatever. But sooner or later, they're going to have to. And the longer it takes, the worse it's going to be for them. Come on our side, get on speed. We're all on the same page. It's not about egos, pride, or whatever. Push the point. The horizon can't be that far away. It's not difficult. But the more of us that know about it and the more of us that push it and the more of us that beat these over the head with it, the easier it is on people like me, Nathan, or whoever, because we're the ones that do get down and dirty. Let's get everybody attacking them, but we need strength in numbers. Stop being egotistical and not supporting it. It's damaging us.
I've got to completely echo that. It's not about ego. You know, the weaponized Black Swan copyright Nathan Oakley 1980-2020 is definitely for everybody. They should all promote it.
Hey, Mark, next time you do that, one of those videos, call it what it is. It's a Black Swan. Okay? Appreciate that next time you reference it, a Black Swan. Okay? Thank you.
I don't think you did anything wrong. Ignore John's comments. I'll retract them for you.
Now, back to the point of Mr. Insensible. You got my screen showing?
Yeah, I can have. Yes.
I didn't want this point to get lost because this is another case of it, right? So you got your typical flat earthers over here are the missiles, right? And its primary target is this fairy tale sphere right here. But what happens is these crayon munchers send out multitudes of flares and flak, right? They're called countermeasures. And what the typical flat earther does is he targets all the countermeasures. What I'm trying to tell you is don't worry about these and put all targets here. You get it? Thanks.
And with that,
yeah, I was gonna, but all good.
Well, just the best part right now is that anytime someone brings up that Soundly photo, it can immediately be bunk, right? I mean,
yeah.
That
just ask them, is it showing Earth curve? And then they
no
say
longer
yes.
holds any kind of sway.
One more time. Anthony got enthusiastic and ruined the point. Try once more. Hopefully Anthony will hear his point reiterated from someone else without getting too enthusiastic. Try once more.
Well, no, I just was saying, like, so as of today, that photo holds no more sway in anyone. You know, that's a moot point or a mute point, right?
No, it's debunked.
Point.
It's debunked. It's not even a moot point. It's debunked now.
All right. Where's this photo?
It's quite funny because I noticed Soundly left the scene just before this observation. The one time the ball earthers need Jesse Kozlowski and Soundly is now, right? To show geometry. It's hilarious.
Jesse's still out there. Is Jesse Kozlowski? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, Jesse. They made the model with Soundly, and everyone refers to them. So I'm just, it's hilarious how they're nowhere to be seen at the most important time of their heliocentric model, right?
He's the Walking Dead from about 3 years ago. I pummeled him on his channel. What are you still doing out here, Jesse? I better not see you.
He's not. The point is he's ran away shortly before or shortly after the Black Swan emerged.
Why was he even still here? He shouldn't have been out here from 3 years ago. You know, Walking Dead. You're Walking Dead from that point. Talk about redundant. So, what's this photo you guys are talking about? Anthony, put your photo up since it's a big deal. Or do we have time for that, Nathan? Or no?
Yeah, we're all good.
Okay. Anthony. Luke, Anthony, put that photo up.
4
Tell
more
me what you're
minutes.
talking about. Keep it concise.
Soundly at 6 foot.
Tony.
Tony. I never call him Tony.
How long have you been waiting to do that? 4 more minutes.
3 minutes.
Closing out.
4 more minutes.
You closing out in 4 minutes.
Yeah, party time. Woo! 4 more minutes.
I guess we're not going to get to the photo then.
No, Anthony's just literally disappeared.
I have a
anybody else-
screenshot. I'll put it in Master B or Ballbusters, wherever you like it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, 10th.
All right, hold on. Let me see if I can get it.
So
It'll be in Master B. Almost there.
No pressure.
Okay, it's loading.
Do you want to pop
There
it
you
on
go.
your screen, please, QE, just while you're critiquing it?
Yeah, 1 second.
Thanks.
Screenshot. Let me see it. Share screen.
What's a swan song? Is it like a final song?
Yes.
We need a swan song
Yeah.
for the globe. Because so far we've got a few about the black swan, but we need like... As far as I'm concerned, there's never until now been a punctuation mark, a full stop, a period, after globe. 2020, January 2nd, that is the punctuation mark. Now we need a swan song for the globe.
Put out the request.
I see.
As was beautifully displayed today by Rumpus, who admitted that there is no geometric horizon or can't see the geometric horizon, and that the horizon that we do see is not geometric. Way to go.
All right, I got
And that came with a little bit of mumbling and stuttering, and it was pretty awesome. Sorry, John.
All right, I got the photo up. What's the deal here? Hello?
I mean, what's the deal here? It's just a soundly observation. Same old, same old.
Can I get some pedigree information? What are we looking at here?
Bridge. You see about 16 miles. Horizon was being
I
argued
was going to
about.
say bridge.
Yeah, I've been on this bridge before. I know it's a bridge. Where's he? All right, observer's height.
6 feet.
How far is this? This is where the horizon is, right?
I'm going to say that where you've just drawn your line is about 1.9 miles.
What is it actually?
About 1.9 miles.
I'd say that's not the horizon.
Hold on. Shh. Hush now. About 1.9 miles.
This is 1.9 miles away?
Where you just waved your mouse over, based on those flag things that are 0.1 of a mile. Yeah.
I can tell you.
Hold on. Just a white swan.
No. He wants to know the distance to there. I can tell him the distance.
Right here. This one right here. Looks like it's got a nub on it. And we're just eyeballing this now. This is not, anything precise.
Okay, Paul
I'm just going to
counted
give you the distance, John.
Paul counted the markers to there. I think you've gone one more now. A couple of miles.
Put your marker on it, John, where you want it to be. So it's 1 mile before this. So the distance is roughly. Oh, hang on, I must be on the other one there. That's not. I think that's the further one.
Can you share your screen, Anthony, just so we can see what you're doing?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I mean, if I'm getting this wrong, like let's get it right first time if we can.
I'd rather keep the show open and keep this contained.
Right. So we're on Soundly's video. He stood at this side of the bridge. Okay. There's the concrete block that you see in the actual video itself. This block here is seen in the video.
Okay.
So I've put him on the coast somewhere here, and then we're looking out. Looking out to the horizon, we see the end of the turrets, these sticky out bits here, and then we're looking for the first rays where the bridges go under, where the boats go under. And I think it's this one. Oh, there's the first one. We need to know the distance to the. Because this is the. Oh, hang on. There's the beginning. There, isn't it? Oh, I've got my marker on it anyway. Right, this is the distance to the first one, John. Okay. There.
Okay.
To the thing, and look at the distance. 15.9 miles.
Say again.
15.9 miles.
15.9 miles. Those mile markers, are they 1/10 of a mile markers?
Yeah. The repeats are 1/10 of a mile, but the bigger ones that are halfway down are not. Hang on, that might be. Hang on. I think that's the second one. I'm just trying to find. There's two of them. There's two boat passes. There's one. Just need to find the first one. I did find it when we did the live show. For now, I can't actually find it. That there, isn't it? No. Or is it? No, it's not that. Or maybe it is. No. Oh, there it is. Oh, hang on. So 50 miles is to the second one. So the first one is there. Let's bring that back. This is really hard to do. Down here somewhere. Past that. There it is. So to the first one where the boats go under, you're looking at nearly 8 miles, but the second one is 15 miles. So if you pull yours back up on screen.
Yeah. Oh, I stopped sharing. All right.
So it's 7.8, just call it 8, and then 16 miles.
Well, that's what you're talking about right here. Here's the start, right?
Yeah, but the bridge doesn't meet the sea there. There's more depth in the image.
I know, but what I'm saying here is what you're looking at on your screen where the boats go underneath is right here. The first part of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm heading back because I'm saying that the horizon is right at that mile marker. Like I said, it's not precise. It's somewhere in this vicinity.
I don't agree that's where the horizon is.
It's right there.
Bollocks! It's further back than that. You're not accounting for the rest of the bridge.
Yeah, let me try. Let me try, QE. Hold on, let me try. With your mouse, QE. Start at the far left, but by where my chat is. See where my chat is? You see? Yeah, there. Perfect. That heavily blackened bit. Follow it all the way up to the point that you just said the horizon isn't there. That's where it ends. That I would agree with QE. That's the point that you've got the start of the horizon in reference to that bridge, in my opinion, and QE's opinion,
Nathan,
and Paul's opinion, and Rumpus's opinion.
But respectfully, no one's applying the definition for horizon. It's where the sea or the land appears to meet the sky.
Yeah.
Well, there's a bridge above the sky, and it hasn't met it yet.
Right here. Get away from the bridge.
You won't have it.
See this line right here? This is the horizon. So you follow it in. That's where it is.
No. That's the bridge.
No.
Look, can we do this off air or change the subject?
Yeah.
No, I just don't understand why you're not applying the definition.
I am applying the definition because that's
Four
where
more
the
minutes.
sea appears to meet the sky. It's right here. So
It's
I
already
follow
been 10
this
more,
line all
so-
the way back in. You can rumpus me the whole time. It ain't going to change
That's
anything.
me. It was me. I was doing admin. Much more important. I think you'll agree.
Yes.
Seems like you two have a different perspective on the matter.
Boom, boom.
Lord.
No, I'm just applying what the definition says. It's where the sky, in this case it would be bridge, appears to meet the sea.
No, not bridge.
Yes, bridge.
The bridge is taller.
The bridge is taller, so you've got to get the bridge down to the horizon.
No. This is the horizon, then you just go left. Right here.
But that's not where the bridge meets the sky, the water, is it?
It's hard to tell here, Anthony. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt and going right to this mile marker right here.
Fuck that. Let's not give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's apply the definition. No, the definition is where the sky appears to meet the sea.
No worries, let's try a different way.
It doesn't actually meet
Hold on.
there.
Let's try a different way with Anthony. If you start on the right, forget the bridge, QE. There you go. Would you agree that that's where the sky appears to meet the water?
I would.
Right, well, if you follow that back to the bridge. There we go.
That's not where the bridge appears to meet the water, though. That's where some part of the bridge appears to the water.
You don't find bridges in definitions for horizons, Anthony.
No, but the point of the horizon is where the sky appears to meet the land, the sea. Well, in this case, we've got a bridge. So you have to put the bridge to where the bridge appears to meet the sea.
I've just overcome that by starting on the right-hand side where there was no bridge.
But you've gone past the point where the bridge appears to meet the sea.
I just covered that as well. We don't have bridges in definitions for horizons.
Right. I can't believe that you guys can't follow the simple definitions. This is
oh my god.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, you're telling me.
I am telling you.
Pedantic, Tony.
I'm not. Where the bridge appears to meet the sea is where the horizon is.
No, the horizon is only apparent.
That's all right. I'll go with that, Arwen. Citation, please.
Literally meet the sky.
I want a citation.
Based on the optics.
Where the bridge appears to meet the sea. I want that as a citation for horizon. Go.
Well, given that the definition states where the sky appears to meet the land or the sea.
Not bridge, then.
Well, we have something above the land, above the sea called the bridge. So it has to be the bridge meets the sea.
It's got a different word. There's another word for that. God. QE, you'll know off the top of your head. When there's like a hill, like on my screen right now, can you have a look at that? Can you see that? Where Anthony's standing, just by pure coincidence.
Yeah.
Right, well that's not obviously going to be anything to do with the geometry of a sphere Earth, but it's still a horizon. But that's got a different type of word. I can't remember, like a physical... What's that called? What's that type of horizon?
A topographical horizon.
Topographical horizon, right. Well, your bridge is analogous to a topographical horizon.
Right, but it's still the point where the bridge would appear to meet that's the convergent point that would be the horizon.
No, because the horizon's where the sky appears to meet the sea, but you're saying because there's topography involved that you're going to substitute the horizon for a topographical location.
Because the topography drops into the sea.
So what are you saying?
On that picture that you've got of me there, I'm not dropping into the sea.
Okay, hold on a second. This is getting ridiculous. Well, it was that way 5 minutes ago. Where are you saying the horizon here is at the bridge?
Where the bridge appears to meet the sea.
Where in this picture is the horizon meeting the bridge?
So this is my point. You're not applying what the definition says. Let me say it slowly for the retards. The bridge
no need
to meet the sea.
Let's have it. Hold on, QE. Go on, Anthony.
Are you trying to be the new?
Hold on, Arwen. Go on, Anthony.
The definition is where the bridge appears to meet the sea.
Citation needed. Citation.
Well, it's the definition for horizon.
Yeah.
Where?
Citation needed. A bridge meets the sea. I want to see that horizon definition.
Well, it would
please.
be in the definition. It says sky, but as part of the sky.
Ow!
This is great. Very amusing. Are you doing this for fun? Are you doing this for kicks and giggles?
No, I'm not. I'm shocked that nobody can see the point I'm making, and you're all thinking that I'm being daft.
Yes.
If the sky and the sea appear to meet the land or the sea, that's the horizon. But we've got a bridge. But it does meet the sea at some point.
Would the bridge be considered part of the sky or the earth?
The point where the bridge meets the water, the triangle that's created, that would be the point where the horizon is.
But you keep on avoiding.
But if it's not the sky, if it's a bridge, then it's not the sky, which means it's not the horizon, really.
Well,
right?
okay. In that case, then I could flip that and say, okay, let's go with where John says it is. The rest of it's the Earth curve.
Yeah, that's what they do.
What the hell?
That is what they do. What are you talking about? So you're saying if you were a baller? Okay. I don't get.
Okay.
Listen, I just asked an easy question. It's mind-numbing. Where are you saying the horizon is in relation to this bridge?
Where the bridge appears to meet the fucking sea. I'm not saying it a fifth time.
That,
Yeah,
right?
move his mouse, Anthony. Move his mouse.
Keep going to the right, John. Go to the bit where there's no sky, where there's only sky and no bridge. Yeah, there. Move your mouse until the point where it appears to meet the bridge. Stop. No, you've gone too far.
Right here.
Bit further to the right. 10 pixels to the right.
Here.
That's where the bridge appears to meet the sea. That would be the horizon.
No.
Yeah.
That's where the top of the bridge appears to meet the sea.
Yeah, but a centimetre above the top of the bridge when it meets the sea is the sky.
And?
Well, that would satisfy the definition for horizon.
Why are you doing this if you have the sky and the water in the same picture?
John on mute or something? What's going on?
No. It was just a long, protracted
Nathan,
silence.
can you see my picture? My screen, Nathan?
Can I see your picture? Yes, I can. Go ahead, Sleeping Warrior.
Okay, so let's get the definition of horizon back up. Horizon. Balls. There was a program called it, so I needed the word definition afterwards. Horizon. All right, so let's pull this over and let's agree what it says. The line at which the Earth's surface and the sky appear to meet. Yeah? So now we have, let's get rid of that. We have, pull this down a little bit. Oops. Is that not doing that?
You said Earth's surface.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't see the word bridge in there, by the way.
I know. But at this point that's here...
Bridges actually are
Oh, fuck.
above Earth's surface.
Don't remember him. Go on, Anthony.
At this point here, there is bridge, and at the point underneath it, there is sea, but there isn't a meeting point. At here, there is bridge, and there is sea, but there isn't a meeting point. Here, there appears to be a point there where the bridge no longer is, but the sky is.
I see what you're saying.
And the horizon appears to be there. X marks the spot for the horizon.
No, you're misinterpreting what you're seeing.
Yeah.
A lot.
Bollocks. That's
Look
the fucking
over
definition.
to the left to where the dark line that of the bridge actually suddenly disappears in on itself. See? That's a mirror. So
Yeah, but that's not defined as
Hold
horizon.
on, Sleeping Warrior. Go ahead, Arwin.
overlooking.
Start again, Arwin.
There is a mirror part of the image you're overlooking. Right there where you made the circle, yes. See?
But that doesn't satisfy the definition
Hold
of
on,
horizon.
hold on, Anthony.
If
Try
you
again,
let
Arwin.
that dark part, that point, if you keep drawing that on, then you'll realize that what you thought was the horizon is actually a mirroring part. Because
agree.
the actual horizon is above that.
Right, Arwin, I agree that is a
blurry, what is it? Downward displaced? That type of displacement, visual displacement, I think. But it's obviously a mirror.
Mirage.
Yeah, but that's not satisfying the definition for horizon because the sky is not meeting the waterline at that point.
No, but you've got a
It's just
reference.
apparent.
But you've got a reference 5 inches to the right that does.
Correct. Hence why this point here would be satisfying the definition for horizon because the bridge is no longer meeting it, but the air that's above the bridge is. And we know how far that is. It's at least 16 miles.
I get the feeling the image is also a little bit rotated. If you just look at the orientation of the waves.
Who cares? The point is, where's the land meeting the sea? Or the sky meeting the sea? And it's clearly at the point where the bridge drops down into it. It's not here. There's something going on here, and we can argue whether it's mirage or whatever, but where the sky meets the sea is this point.
No, I disagree.
I disagree
steeper.
also. Sorry.
I don't know how you can disagree. It's evidence on screen. It's literally looking you in the face.
No. It's
What do you mean no? So you're just fucking denying like ballers, are we?
Why don't you listen to what I say? It's steeper. Keep drawing the lines. And make them as straight as possible. Now, the top one is obviously kind of bending downward at some point, but it's pretty much straight. So if you keep on drawing that line into the distance and then the dark one at the bottom that suddenly disappears in the mirror, keep it. It's going upward slightly. And then where they cross, that's where I think probably is the, real horizon that's not really visible.
Right, the horizon is defined as where the land appears to meet the sky or the sea. There's bridge in the way, but we can't make that the sky, can we? Because it's bridge. But it does drop into where it does. The bridge does meet it, and then when the bridge meets it, a millimeter above where that bridge meets it is the sky. From our
And with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of you who did tune in on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Again, another massive thank you to today's Discord and G Plus panels for making this after show possible. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!